should be good there. Okay. Stand. The dog just started barking. Up! New York Giant fans. I guess my dog's not used to the scream yet. Football season is not quite underway. First preseason game on Thursday. Really looking forward to that. Just 2 days away. Going to be live streaming that on this channel with Bad Dog. Should be a lot of fun. But there was a couple of ththings that, took place today. I'm not going to be able to go live tomorrow. That's when I initially planned to do my live stream. Let me get rid of my Discord real quick so you don't hear that buzzing in the background. Because I'm going to training camp tomorrow, but I have plans tomorrow night, so I'm not going to be able to do the live stream tomorrow night. I planned on that, so I figured I'd do it today. The unofficial depth chart came out today. And of course, I wanted to go over some of the things that happened today at training camp. There's been a lot of stories. Everybody seems to be all over the offense, rightfully so in some cases. I'll give my full opinion on that. We'll also talk about the fight that took place at training camp, some of the details there. But the unofficial depth chart is really, at least mainly what I want to focus on, because I think a lot of us have questions right now leading into the preseason games. Who's going to be on the roster, who's not going to be. Of course, they got to cut down from 90 to 53, and we're going to find that out over the next 3 weeks. So it should be a lot of fun. Hopefully everybody enjoyed their day. Thank you to everybody for being here. Let me give a quick shout out to a couple people in the chat, man. What's going on, Cannoli Boy, man? What's going on, Isaiah? What's going on, Andrew Christopher? What's going on, Chicago? Oh, that guy, yeah. What's going on, Mike Gorga? What's going on, Coulter, man? Thanks for popping in the stream. Eric in the chat. The Big Moo in the chat. Andrew B in the chat. Alien in the chat. Diehard Yankee fans in the chat. Coulter, thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate it, buddy. And, thank you for all the mods, man. Big Blue, man, what's going on, man? What's going on, Cookie, man? What's going on? My man, Authentic in the chat. I actually asked Authentic to come on today. We'll do that maybe sometimes next week. We'll have a lot more to talk about after the first preseason game. Definitely going to try to get these midday. This wasn't a midday. I was going to do midday, backed it up a bit, but definitely going to get some of these streams up and running pretty regularly as the season gets underway. But Jahai, man, thank you very much, man. He says, nicest place to eat around the MetLife area. And, dude, you got to check out I don't know what that is. I will look at it after the stream, though. Plant Former in the city. It's incredible. Oh, I love Brazilian food. They keep giving you the meat until you're full. So I've been to several of those. Relentless men and ass everywhere. Zai, man, thank you very much. As far as listen, I don't know all the hot spots around MetLife. I will say I've gone to Reds a couple of times now. Bad Dog actually showed it to me, and I've been there 2 other times after. It's a nice bar, good food there, good drinks. That's within like a mile of the stadium. It's pretty popular. It's like a Giants bar. So I'll say that. But I don't know the area, incredibly well. When I go to a Giants game, more often than not, I'm eating in the parking lot at a tailgate. And that would be my suggestion to anybody that goes there is eat before you go in the stadium, because the prices are outrageous and usually you get better food anyway. MetLife is kind of in the middle. Yeah, it is. Exactly, Blair, what you just said. It's right in the middle of nowhere. Brandon says, what's up, man? So excited for football. Can't wait to watch the rookies Thursday. Hopefully the offense looks much better than they have in camp. Yeah, we're going to talk about the offense, and we'll start there. That's been a big storyline, and the offense is off to a rocky start. It really is. It's definitely off to a rocky start. The second practice that I went to, which I think was the 6th practice overall by all accounts, was the best the offense had looked, and Jones looked good in that practice. He was 16 for 20. He threw 2 picks. One of them was I didn't get on him for it. The last pick was at the goal line, so it was a bad pick there where he kind of double bumped. But overall, the offense looked good. It looked fluent. It looked like they were moving the ball. When I went to FanFest, left a lot to be desired. And I think a lot of people have seen the highlights. They've heard the opinions of others, whether it be the offensive line, whether it be Kenny Galladay's route running, whether it be Daniel Jones at the quarterback position. A lot of people got on them for that. And then today, I think it's only amplified it, right? You heard the reports today that Daniel Jones came out for 1 snap. Why, we don't know. It might have been that, Brian Daboll, for all we know, wanted to talk to him about something that he did in the previous play. He only missed 1 snap. But overall, the offense looked bad. I saw Bobby post the stats. I think Jones was 5 for 16 or 6 for 16 with 2 interceptions. I think Kadarius Toney had 2 drop balls. And by all accounts, every beat writer said it was basically the worst the Giants offense has looked this entire training camp. And now we're 2-3 weeks into it. So I know a lot of Giants fans are going to panic. And what I'll say is you have every right to question this offense going into the year. Every Giants, if you are listening to this stream and you're a Giants fan and you're not questioning this offense going into the year, you're crazy. The Giants the last 2 years have ranked 31st in 2020 and 2021. A lot of people obviously pointed to Jason Garrett as a guy that could be a major contributor as to why that is. And the Giants have since moved off of him and changed offensive coordinators. Jason Garrett was definitely part of the problem, but there's other problems. The Giants combined for 538 points over the last 2 years. The Dallas Cowboys had 530 points last year in 17 games. They matched us in 16 less games. So the offense has been a major problem. Have we made some additions? Absolutely. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I think we're going to get off to a rocky start, especially with the new scheme. And we have not produced at a very high level offensively in quite some time. I think it'll be better this year. I think they're going to open up the offense, but you're going to have to deal with growing pains. There's no doubt about it. And hopefully Daniel Jones takes that big leap this year. That's what it's all about. But so far, yeah, I understand fans that are nervous, that are discouraged from the reports that are coming out in practice. I'm trying not to get too high or too low based off the things I'm hearing. You know, the optimists will say, well, the defense looks really good. I know Kayvon Thibodeau today had 2 sacks, but then you could say, well, they're not blocking properly. And I could say that definitively. The second practice, I actually thought the offensive line did a decent job in terms of pass protection. But when I went to FanFest, it was horrible. And you heard today the offensive line has been abysmal, and that's been a major problem as well. But if I'm being fair, I expect the offensive line to get off to a slow start. After all, you got a rookie right tackle, and you got 3 guys that have never worked with each other in the middle. Shane Lemieux's got a little bit of time with the New York Giants, but none of these guys have worked with each other. You have 4 new linemen in terms of working with one another. You have Andrew Thomas on the left side. So do I think there's going to be growing pains on the line? Yes. I do think the offense will get off to a bit of a sluggish start, and hopefully it improves over the course of the season. I also think that the defense is going to naturally progress quicker than the offense. I think the offense is much more complex, and the Giants are picking things up as they go. But so far, yeah, I understand fans that are nervous so far of what they've heard overall with the offense. But I'm going to wait, in terms of hitting the panic button until such time we see a couple of regular season games and we see how this team looks. But Brandon, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it, buddy. Let's get into it. Bobby Woodruff. Hi, Chris, my friend. You are awesome. And did you see Mr. Softy today? I did not. I did not get an opportunity to see Mr. Softy. But Bobby, next time I get to see him, I will let you know. As a matter of fact, Bobby, when I went to the Mets game a couple of weeks ago, there was a Mr. Softy right outside the stadium. And I didn't want ice cream. I wanted a bottle of water. The guy didn't have anything to drink. He didn't have Coke. He didn't. I was disappointed. I almost thought about calling up Mr. Softy and complaining the company. Let me get to I think I had a member chat. I just want to make sure I don't miss that real quick. Yes. Stephen Lilly, my man, been a member for 32 months, says, I can't wait until Thursday. Yeah, man, I can't wait either. I always get hyped, especially for the first preseason game. Then when you get that first taste, you're like, okay, let's get to the regular season, because you only see the starters for about a quarter, but you get to see a lot of the guys that are competing for the back end of the roster, which we'll talk about throughout this stream as well with the unofficial depth chart. But that's something definitely going to keep an eye on. You're going to keep an eye on the offensive line, Evan Neal, Kayvon Thibodeau, how they look, the offensive scheme, everything else. The one thing that I could tell you for sure that I'll take out of the defense from what I've seen so far, we are going to blitz. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are going to blitz. We're going to be sending 7, 8. We're going to be blitzing a ton this year. And I think we already knew that, but I feel like we're blitzing even more than I expected. And again, it's practice. We'll see. I don't think you're going to get a full taste of what we're going to do on either side of the ball, though, in our first preseason game, right? Or in any of the preseason games. They're not going to show you the full repertoire, but it's still exciting to get to see the New York Giants go up against some other competition. And we're going up against Joe Judge, right? So that's a little bit of an interesting storyline. The former head coach last year, of course, now he's on the coaching staff with the New England Patriots. Sean, man, what's going on, man? Minshew better than Hurts. Backup is better than the starter. I'm not going to get into that, man. Listen, I'm not a big Hurts fan. You know that if you watch my channel. But he made the playoffs last year. So I'm not at liberty to bash anybody in this division until such time the New York Giants start winning football games. Last year, we batted our chest before we should have, before we started winning football games. Let's beat the Eagles a couple times. Let's have a good year. We'll see, man. We'll see. As far as Minshew and Hurts, obviously Hurts is the starter. They're going to find out what they got at their quarterback spot this year. They've gotten them a lot of weapons. I'm sure they're going to look to throw the football a lot more than last year. We'll still try to pay attention to that ground game because I still think that's the strength of their offense. Tuto, my man, he says, massive salute to Giants Nation. Fans drop by to pay our proper respects and slap all the stinky boys loses out the door hard and fast. My man, Tuto, man, glad to see you. Just want to say hello to a bunch of other people. Bowler in the chat, Queasy in the chat, amazing guy in the chat. Twaz Lukey, what's going on, man? Jacob says, Tana, which channel? It's going to be on mine, Jacob, the first game. Taylor will be our quarterback. No, I'm never going to say never, but I don't think he's going to be the quarterback week 3. I don't think it'll happen that quickly. I really don't. But you never know. I know people are starting to, hear about the training camp reports and they saw that Jones got pulled out for one play. For all we know, Daniel Jones had to pee. He had to run into the bathroom, or the coach wanted to talk to him. It's one play. I know somebody said that Dable looked like he might have been a little bit upset. Maybe he made the wrong read on a throw and he wanted to talk to him. I'm not going to read into that at all. I think they're going to give Jones some time to operate in this offense to see what they have. What's going on? Dan Big Blue, man, thanks for popping in, man. What's going on, Alex? Chicago Sports Talk, Michael Beck. Let's see. How is Jones going, Chris? How is Jones going, Chris? You talking about Daniel Jones? He's off to a rocky start. I mean, as far as training camp goes, but again, I'm not going to read too much into it. I mean, I remember several times since I've been doing YouTube, people used to rave about Eli Manning in training camp, and then he went out there and he struggled. And if I remember correctly, last year people said Daniel Jones looked great in training camp, and obviously, he wasn't. Whatever you want to blame that on, whether it be the offensive line, the scheme, the playmakers who went down with injuries, he wasn't. I mean, the guy's combined for 21 touchdown passes in his last 2 years. Lake Nona, man, what's going on, man? Junior, man, what's going on? Anthony Raza, what's going on, man? Xavier McKinney posted me on Instagram. That's awesome, Matthew Stein. But I wanted to jump into, we'll talk about the fight as well. I got that saved. But I wanted to jump into the unofficial depth chart for the Giants and I guess kind of speculate as to what it may mean in terms of who stands the best chance, right, to make this roster. So definitely want to dive into that as well. There was a couple of interesting names in certain areas that I was like, wow, maybe this guy stands a better chance or worse chance than I originally thought to make the roster. But first, let me get to H50. He says, who will have a better season, the New York Giants or the New York Jets? I bet my Jets friend a bottle of 1942 this weekend. Listen, if I'm a Jets fan, I can understand being hyped for this season. I do think they had a good offseason. I do think they're building the team the right way. I do think they had a good draft. By all accounts, they had one of the stronger drafts of any team in the NFL. But the Jets schedule is brutal. And I know the Browns game looks a lot more winnable now that Watson is out, so maybe my opinion slightly changed on their schedule. But when I looked at their schedule when it first came out preseason, I said to myself, I find it hard to find more than 6 games that this team is going to win. And I don't hate the Jets. I do think they're improved. I do think they're heading down the right path. But their schedule is brutal. So if you ask me, I would actually pick the Giants. I think it's close, but I think I would pick the Giants to finish with more wins than the Jets, just simply because we play one of the easiest schedules in the entire NFL, if not the easiest. And I think the Jets play one of the hardest. Real quick, I'll read off the Jets schedule for you guys. I'm not going to pull it up, but I mean, you look at this Jets schedule, I'll read it. I mean, it's friggin' brutal when I saw it. They've got, let's see, that's preseason. So they open with the Baltimore Ravens, probably a loss. At the Browns, I'll say 50-50 without Watson. It's on the road. I'll say 50-50. Then you got Cincinnati, obviously the defending Super Bowl appearance. At Pittsburgh. So they open against the AFC North the first 4 games. At best, if you're a Jet fan, if you're realistic, you're looking at 2-2 at best. It's going to be 1-3 or 2-2 for me after those 4. Then you got the Dolphins, improved team, obviously added Tyreek Hill. Then at Green Bay. Then you got at Denver, who just added Russell Wilson. You got the New England Patriots, who are always tough. Buffalo. So the first 9 games, there's no easy opponent. Then you got a bye. Then you got at New England off the bye. Then you get your first easy game, the Bears. At Minnesota, not particularly easy. At Buffalo, Detroit, Jacksonville, at Seattle. So they have 3 easy games down the stretch. But at that point, who knows what their record's going to be? I just feel like it's a bear of a schedule for the New York Jets, and I think they're going to struggle. Jared, man, what's going on, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. And Tuto, he says, we had our first win away game season opener against a much bigger, stronger team, and D-Books. And that's awesome, Tuto, man. Congratulations, man. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate all the support on the channel. Jets better even if we finish with less wins just because of harder teams. Jeremy, that's a fair opinion that you have. But I just think the Jets schedule is brutal. But, yeah, I wanted to go over the depth chart, then we'll talk briefly about the fight, and we'll just hang out like we always do. We'll hang out till about 8:55, talk about the Giants, any questions you may have. Always have fun doing the live streams with you guys. Thank you guys for all the support on the channel that you guys always show. And yeah, man, hit the thumbs up. Brazil says 400 watching you. Half of you have not even hit the thumbs up yet, man. I appreciate it, man. And by the way, I just want to say thank you. I'm not going to ignore. Well, I am going to ignore it. I'm not going to respond to it. I'm not even going to talk about it. But you probably know if you frequent YouTube or if you're on Twitter. I'm not playing those games. I'm not doing that. But I want to say thank you to all my supporters, everybody with the kind words, everything that you guys said on Twitter. It doesn't go unnoticed. In the YouTube stream last night by Bad Dog. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for all the support you guys always show. It means the world. And yeah, I don't come on here for drama. I come in here to unite Giants fans and have fun. That's it. And I appreciate all the support you guys always show on the channel. I want to make sure I said that as well. I was just getting in my Giants zone. I meant to say that at the top of the stream. But let's get into the shared screen. I want to share the screen. I want to go over the Giant. You probably can't see it, but I want to go over the Giants' first official depth chart. And like I said, I think there's some interesting names in terms of where they're aligned. Wide receiver, Kenny Golladay, obviously listed as a starter. You got Wan'Dale Robinson as well listed as a starter, along with Kadarius Toney, which is to be expected. Sterling Shepard, I don't think, is on here due to the fact that right now he's on the PUP or whatever the injury, the terminology that they use. So he's technically not on here. But those are the three projected starters. Then behind them, the immediate backups, you have Richie James, you have Darius Slayton, and then you have, Darius Slayton is both. So right now, the depth chart at least would suggest that Darius Slayton is probably just on the back end of making this roster. You have C.J. Board as the third string along with Alex Bachman. But what I will point out, because we all know that C.J. Board is his strength and why he's probably, if he is going to make this team, why he's going to make this team is special teams. What surprised me, and again, who knows? I'm not going to read too much into it. But what surprised me is he is listed as the primary and starting kick and punt returner. A lot of people kind of thought that would be Richie James. So you would think if they feel that way and if he continues to progress in that role, he stands a very good chance to make this team. So I still think there's a battle at the back end of those last couple of wide receivers. And I don't know for sure that Darius Slayton's making this team. I know he had a very good practice today. I hope he makes it. I wanted Slayton to make it. I've said that all offseason, and we'll see. But I thought that was interesting that they listed C.J. Board as the starting kick and punt returner. Colin Johnson, who's been fantastic, is still buried way down on the unofficial depth chart. He's the fourth wide receiver on the list. He's a guy that I'm kind of rooting for, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets claimed if he doesn't make the New York Giants roster. The starting offensive line is what we expect. Evan Neal, Mark Lewinsky, John Feliciano, Shane Lemieux, Andrew Thomas. They have Josh Azudu as of now. This has to change. Listed as the primary backup left tackle due to the fact that, of course, Matt Gano retired. Azudu known more to be a guard that has the ability to play the tackle position. But right now he's listed as the backup left tackle. I expect the New York Giants to go out there and probably add another tackle. I know that they added, I think it was Will Holden, but I expect them to add more competition as camp progresses and more guys get knocked off of rosters. On the interior, Azudu's listed as the primary guard as well, along with Jamil Douglas, Ben Bredesen. So Max Garcia is way down, so probably hints that he's probably not going to make this team, and he hasn't been getting a ton of first and second team reps. Running back, they have Brightwell actually ahead of Antonio Williams, and they have Corbin, the undrafted free agent that a lot of people like, way down on the depth chart. So that would at least indicate as of now, Brightwell probably stands a good chance to make this team. I know a lot of people have talked really nice things about him. On the defense, interestingly enough, they have Dexter Lawrence at the nose tackle. Who knows where he's going to play? They're going to show a lot of different alignments, but right now they have him listed at the nose tackle, along with Justin Ellis, then DJ Davidson as the third string, the rookie defensive tackle that the New York Giants drafted. Ellis, of course, the free agent we picked up. I think he weighs 350 pounds, but Lawrence, as of now, is listed as the primary starting nose tackle. Then you got Leonard Williams, Azeez Ojulari listed at the D end. Of course, he's more of an OLB. Then you got Kayvon Thibodeau, O'Shane Zimenez, Quincy Roche behind Zimenez, which is kind of to be expected. Zimenez has been good in the practices. In the middle, you have Blake Martinez and Tay Crowder. So they went with the two veterans there. They actually have Carter Coughlin ahead of Micah McFadden. Micah McFadden has not been getting a ton of reps with the second team. So that doesn't really surprise me, but it would encourage you to think if you like Carter Coughlin, he's probably going to make the team. Darian Beavers listed as the primary backup linebacker behind Tate Crowder. So I thought that was relatively interesting. And then in the secondary, as expected, Adoree Jackson, Aaron Robinson, Darnay Holmes in the nickel, Julian Love, and of course Xavier McKinney being your starting secondary. They do have Dane Belton listed as the primary backup, but of course he suffered the collarbone injury. Today I heard that I think he is out of the sling. So I don't know if that means he'll be ready before the beginning of the season or not. But they have him listed as the primary backup behind Julian Love, along with Andrew Adams opposite Xavier McKinney. Yusuf Corker also kind of battling for one of the back end spots. Cordell Flott, the backup nickel, and they've got Rodarius Williams as the primary backup exterior cornerback, according to the depth chart. So, yeah, just a couple of interesting notes. Nothing crazy, but I kind of wanted to go over it with you guys. It's always exciting when you get the first unofficial depth chart. You look for, if it may mean anything as to who may or may not make this team. And like I said, the one thing that kind of stuck out to me was that they have C.J. Board listed as the starting kick and punt returner. Because I thought for sure that could potentially be Richie James's role. And as of now, he's not listed as that. Danny, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. He says, with our weak schedule, if we could get a couple of bounces our way, we could definitely be a playoff team. I don't necessarily disagree with that. Actually, I do agree with that. I'm just not predicting it. I'm going in very reserved in terms of my evaluation and in terms of my expectations going into the year. I'm not gonna set the bar sky high. I listen, as a fan, if I didn't have a YouTube channel and I wasn't trying to be as objective as I possibly can as someone who loves this team, I would probably say that. I'd probably say, yeah, we could win 9 or 10 games. We could get a couple of breaks. We play a soft schedule. And listen, if we do, we definitely can. I mean, you look at the Eagles last year. I say it all the time when people bring it up. They stayed healthy all year. They played one of the softest schedules in the NFL, and they benefited because of it. Can we stay healthy? We have not been able to do that since 1732. So if we could stay healthy, yeah, I could see an opportunity for us to win a couple more games than some people may think. But I still think there's going to be some growing pains to start the year, specifically on the offensive side of the ball. I will say, again, I don't know how much I'm going to read into this quite yet. I have been encouraged with the defense and how good they've looked reportedly from what you've heard at the practices. But in my head, I'm like, let me see it against other competition because they're going up against the offense. And for all I know, the offense is really struggling. Like I said at the top of the stream, 4 new offensive linemen, new scheme, learning on the fly. So I want to see what the defense does in preseason and then obviously, early on in the regular season. But they're going to blitz. I'll tell you that right now. I've been to a couple of practices, 3 practices overall. They're going to blitz. They're going to send the dogs and they're going to go down swinging. So if they go down, hopefully they don't. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun and exciting on both sides of the ball. I think we're going to be a much more aggressive team this year. But there could be some growing pains. Tudo, massive salute to all our Italian paisanos in the live chat, especially Mr. Rosario, the king, talking about my dad. Yeah, always in the streams. And, of course, Tudo's as well of New York Giants Fans Nation, the legends. My man, Tudo, man, thank you so much for being here, man. And thank you for all the support. Luis says, sorry about all the BS last night. A Bad Dog Stream was watching, then saw the diss video. Someone called for I unsubscribed. I'm never going to tell anybody what to do. I'm never going to badmouth anybody on YouTube. That's just me. So you guys do what you want. Whether, you don't want to watch me anymore because of that video. Okay. But yeah, that's it, man. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to give him attention. Yeah, that's it. So, but Luis, man, I appreciate it, man. And thank you so much for all the support you always show. And I always see you in the streams, man. I really appreciate it, man. And what's going on, Bush, man? What's going on, Athletic Man? Thanks for popping in the stream, buddy. Chris says, specifically, which games do you see us winning? All right, let's pull up the schedule. We'll pull up the schedule real quick. And let me just read Killian's member chat, and then I'm going to pull up the schedule. We'll go over it real quick. Killian says, hey, Chris, since I've been able to watch your live streams, you know live. Can't wait even for preseason. Just need Giants football in my life. You and me both. And it was funny. I actually met a couple of – hopefully they're in the stream. I don't know if they are or aren't, but really two cool guys at the Met game. They said they were big fans of the channel. Talked to them for about a half hour, and they said they were looking forward to the next live stream. So hopefully you guys are in here as well. But, yeah, let me pull up the schedule real quick for you, Chris. And, yeah, we'll go over, which games we like, which games we don't. I think it's pretty cut and dry. But I'll share it. We'll go over it real quick in terms of going in, which games we think are the most winnable games. And yeah, let's do it real quick. Here we go. Let's see. Giants schedule. All right, so here's the Giants schedule. Don't care about preseason. Let's skip that. At Tennessee, I don't love the game. I've talked about it why time and time again. The one thing people have told me, and it does make some sense, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it comes to fruition. Derrick Henry, of course, is coming off the injury. So is it possible week 1 they don't give him a full allotment of touches? Maybe they ease him in. Who knows? The one thing I really do like about this matchup from a defensive standpoint is Tennessee's not the type of team, especially after the weapons that they lost, that are going to air it out. I think we could all agree the biggest weakness on our defense is the secondary. So the main focal point in that game, no doubt about it, is going to be stopping the ground attack. That's where it's going to start. I'm going to pick Tennessee. I think it's going to be one of those annoying games that over the course of the game, Tennessee just grinds it out. And in the end, maybe they get a long touchdown to sew the game up or something like that. I hope I'm wrong. I pray the Giants win. I just don't love the matchup. The next week, Carolina, I think you asked me what are winnable. That game is clearly winnable, and I'm probably going to pick us to win it. We beat Carolina last year. We're home. I think that's a very winnable game. Dallas. I mean, Dallas did get worse, right? They lost a lot of pieces on the offense. The offensive line's not the same. Would I be shocked this year if the Giants get a split against Dallas? I wouldn't. I know we haven't beat Dak since his rookie year. We'll see. I'm not probably picking a win there, but it could happen. Early in the year, though, like I said, I still think you're going through growing pains. You're playing a pretty good team. I actually think we stand a better chance to beat them if we're healthy later in the year on Thanksgiving. Bears, I think, will win. I think that might be the worst team in football. At the Packers, well, it's technically in London. Hate that matchup. Baltimore, short rest, coming back from London. Hate that matchup. After that, though, at Jacksonville, at Seattle, a bye, Houston, and Detroit. I could see us winning all those games. I'm not saying we will, but all those games are winnable. That's where we're gonna be able to clean up if we're going to. And if we're gonna make the playoffs, that's where we're gonna have to clean up. You're gonna have to win at least 3 in that 4-game stretch. Then at Dallas, like I said, we already talked about that. Washington home, that's a winnable game. Eagles, maybe you could get a split. If we go 3-3 in division, maybe we could surprise people. At Minnesota, Indy, and at the Eagles. That's tough at the end of the season. So I'm looking at about 7 wins, but would I be surprised if we win more than that? No. For the simple reason that we play a really soft schedule this year. I mean, like I said last night on Bad Dog Stream, I saw a power ranking come out. I think we play 6 out of the 7 lowest ranked teams in football, excluding ourselves. And that's not including Washington. It was 23. We played twice. So I see a lot of winnable games on our schedule, but we probably won't win all of them. Davey, man, what's going on, man? Really didn't like Fish doing what he did. You took the high road. The best revenge is success. Hey, Davey, man, I appreciate it, man. You've been with my channel forever, been a member. You're always active. You know, I'm not telling you what to do in terms of that, but I appreciate you support my channel. So thank you. MY Giants 26 says, apparently from reports, Kayvon has been in the backfield almost every play. Very encouraging. Hope he makes a strong presence Thursday. Yeah, I think that's where most eyes are going to be glued, especially on the defensive side of the football. Obviously, we're going to be looking at Jones, and we're going to be looking at Wan'Dale Robinson, and we're going to be looking at the line and Evan Neal and the scheme. But from a defensive standpoint, you're going to be looking at Kayvon Thibodeau. I mean, people have been, giving this guy unbelievable rave reviews throughout the last 3 or 4 practices. They've really started to rev it up. I think he had 2 sacks today, which is incredibly encouraging. Again, I don't want to read too much into it because of the offensive line. They are struggling. I want to see him do it in a real game. We won't see him too much week 1. So, who knows what we'll see. We'll probably only see a quarter of Kayvon Thibodeau. But week 1 against Tennessee, I am super excited to see what Kayvon Thibodeau could do for this defense. But, so far, by all accounts, he's looked really good the last couple of practices. And hopefully he has a big year. And hopefully, not that I think he's going to have the same rookie year Micah Parsons did, because that's just asking way too much. That's expecting way too much. One of the greatest rookie seasons of all time. But for a defensive player. But hopefully he could have a similar effect in the sense that we have an aggressive defense, a new defensive coordinator. It was the same thing with Dallas last year. They got one elite playmaker in the draft, and it completely changed their defense. And hopefully Kayvon Thibodeau could have at least a similar effect to our defense. And he's going to be a big key this year. I think I had a member chat. I just want to make sure I read that. Colin, man, thank you very much, man. How overrated do you think the damn Eagles are? Colin, man, listen, last year I got egg on my face like a lot of Giants fans did, like a lot of NFL fans did. You listen to any NFL analysts last year, most NFL analysts, non-Eagles fans, thought they were a 5-win team. And they completely surprised everybody. They won 9 games. I tip my cap. They changed their philosophy midseason. They went to a very heavy run approach. And as Giants fan, what I'm hoping they do this year is they abandon that. And, they added A.J. Brown. They obviously, it appears they're probably going to try to open up the offense a bit in terms of passing the football. And I'm sure Jalen Hurts will throw for more yards. And they're going to be a more aggressive offense. But to me, their bread and butter is the run game. I think that's where they're at their best. And I hope they open up the offense. And I hope they get away from that a bit. Overrated? I think it's possible they're slightly overrated going into the year by some people. But at the same time, they play a very weak schedule, much like us. And with the strengths on both sides of their ball, I'm picking them to win the division. I hate the Eagles. You know that. I hate them. I despise them. There is no team I hate more in any sport that I watch than the Philadelphia Eagles. But going into the year, if you ask me, Chris, be completely honest. Yeah, I think I'm picking the Eagles to win this division going into the year. Do I think they're a great team? No. Do I think they will win a playoff game if they match up against a team like the Bucs, if they match up against a team like the 49ers, a team like the Rams? No, I don't think they're beating those teams. But do I think they're good enough to win this division, especially with their schedule? Yes, I do. But we'll see. I mean, it's entirely possible. You look at what the Eagles did last year. They beat up on crap teams. They didn't beat any good teams for the most part. So let's see what they do this year. But again, their schedule is not very challenging. So they kind of have the benefit of that. Mr. Hanson, man, what's going on, man? Tana, what's up? Longtime listener and Giants fan from the West Coast. What we did, the unthinkable, and drafted my cousin. He's your cousin? Kayvon Thibodeau with number 5. Here's a pick with, is that, I can't see it. Hold on, let me expand my screen on my phone. That's you and Kayvon Thibodeau? I mean, I hope that's you and Kayvon Thibodeau. For all I know, it could be anybody, but I'm going to assume you're telling the truth. That's freaking awesome. If that's the truth, man. That's awesome, man. But I think there we go. I guess the Mets hit a home run. Yeah, I'm going to catch probably the last 5 or 6 innings of that game. I figured today's a good day to do the Giants stream, being that they're playing the Reds. I figure we're going to win. And I can't do a stream tomorrow when I wanted to for the Giants. So, but that's good to hear. Mets up 2-0. G Nation, man, what's going on, man? Stand up, Chris. We're going to go 11-6 this year. From your lips to God's ears, G Nation. Definitely going to get you on a stream along with several other content creators for right before the season starts. I like to do that. Maybe give each of you guys 10 minutes. The hype up stream the night before the first game. And you've been on my channel before. Great guy. Big Giants fan. I pray you're right, man. I hope we go 17-0. MY Giants 26, man. He says, don't want to bring it up regarding Fisk. You always have my support, Chris. Thank you for everything. You're a great man. I appreciate it, man. You don't have to say all that. I appreciate you just watching the content. And thank you for all the support you always show on the channel. You also met Joe Friday. That's awesome, man. And MY John, I saw what you said on Twitter too, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Taco Driven. I just saw this. If you watch my streams, go back and watch. And I get a lot of people in my streams. I go back. I make it a point to stay on as long as I can to talk to as many people as I can that don't pay. So that's bullshit. Go back, watch my last stream. I don't think I got a donation. I just did a baseball stream. I think I got 4 donations the entire stream. So that's bullshit. If somebody pays $5, I'm going to address the quote just like anybody else would. So, I mean, come on. That's nonsense. But thank you, man. What's going on, Olivia? Thanks for popping in the stream. What's going on, Joseph Santiago, man? Thanks for popping in the stream. What's going on, Johnny Boy, man? What's going on, MY Finest? What's up, Chris? The GOAT back at it again. What's going on, Anthony? Bigger Mike in the chat, man. I also, by the way, I also want to go over the fight today. I want to go over the fight today at Giants training camp. What's going on, Motorcycle, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. I want to go over the fight today at Giants training camp. I wanted to go over, like, the official details. So what's up, Kayla, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. I know a lot of people were, like, revved up about that. And there was a picture that was, like, trending all over Twitter where Feliciano looked like he was sleeping. But let's go over the fight real quick and talk about the details of that. Video shows major fight at Giants training camp that involves multiple players and even an assistant coach. So that was like the big storyline, right? At training camp today, Bobby Johnson, the new Giants offensive line coach, actually got involved in the fight. I don't think he threw any punches, but I think he pushed somebody from what I read. I obviously wasn't there, but that's what I read. He was actually involved in the fight. This is coming out from Jordan Renan. Giants practice getting crazy begins after Saquon Barkley lowers his shoulder on cornerback Aaron Robinson. Next 2 plays involve scuffles. Offensive line coach Bobby Johnson gets involved, pushing with outside linebacker Cam Brown. Center John Feliciano and Brown threw straight haymakers at each other with helmets on. So there you go. And there's videos of it all over Twitter. So the Giants got into a little bit of a melee today. But the one thing that I really liked when I initially heard it, and maybe it's a cheap shot, you could argue by Barkley because it wasn't like, in terms of like a legitimate scrimmage where they're going to be able to hit you as hard as they can on defense. But I like to hear, and that's why the defense got pissed off. I also read that Tate Crowder threw, I forgot who it was, the next running back down to the ground viciously because things got heated after that. But I like hearing, one thing that you hear about from Giants fans the last several years with Saquon Barkley, he doesn't run hard enough. I like hearing this. I like hearing that he's lowering the shoulder and being aggressive. And I think most Giant fans probably like reading that as well. And I'm always open to a couple of scuffles in training camp as long as it doesn't get overblown. Also, with the aggressive nature of the defense, you kind of expect that, right? When I went to training camp, I think the second or first day, I can't remember, Daniel Jones almost got crippled because I think it was O'Shane Zimenez coming off the edge and nearly ran into his knees. So this happens. These kind of things happen. The one thing I really took out of that was I was like, yeah, man, Saquon Barkley lowering the shoulder, running aggressive, something that I thought was good news there, showing some confidence in his body. Things didn't get started truly ugly, though, until John Feliciano and Cam Brown started going at it. According to The Athletic, here's what happened once these two started fighting. Brown dragged Feliciano out of the scrum, and offensive line coach Bobby Johnson pushed Brown. Then Feliciano punched Brown in the head. No matter how ugly things got, you'll almost never see an assistant coach go after a player. And then they show the video below. This is actually Bobby's video. with John Feliciano. And this is the fight.
Hey, crowd.
So that's a little bit. So that's the scrum there. And that was obviously, garnering a lot of attention today on Twitter, that there was a fight. I think it's the second fight so far in camp for the New York Giants. So I wanted to touch on that as well. Let me just read this real quick, man. What's going on, Ryan Jackson? Tanning your face is noticeably thinner. Keep it up. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, man. I've been working on getting in shape and losing weight. I've told you guys that. I think I lost. I'm 210.4 as of this morning. I was. So we're down about 37 pounds. And Matthew says, biggest make or break this season besides DJ and Saquon. Ooh, good question. I'm going to go. I'm going to let the chat answer that question as well. You guys give your takes. I'm not going to look. I will give my take as well. The biggest make or break excluding DJ and Saquon. My coffee's getting a little cold. I'm just taking a sip. I'm going to go Kenny Golladay. And I didn't look at the chat. I don't know what people are saying. Kenny Golladay next year is a potential cut candidate. We've already seen Giants fans getting on him saying he's not hustling in practice. And people are going to be all over him after the $72 million contract last year. And if we cut him, I think we save about $6 or $7 million next year, which isn't a ton. But I think there's a lot of pressure on Kenny Golladay so far. And there's several others I could have said. But I'm going to go with Kenny Golladay. I'm curious to see what the chat had to say, man. I'm curious to see what the chat had to say. Golladay. Adoree Jackson. That's a pretty good one because he's the cornerback one this year. So there's a lot more pressure. Tony LaVar, I could kind of see where you're going with that because there's much higher raised expectations being year two. Last year, not necessarily his fault. He had some injuries, but didn't put up the biggest rookie seasons. And now you figure he's going to be more featured in the offense. He's still second year. I think there's more pressure for Kenny Golladay personally, but it's not a bad one. Shepard, he's hurt. I don't think he's going to be here next year. Golladay seems to be the most popular answer. Slayton might not even make the team. I saw somebody say Slayton. Dexter Lawrence, that's a good one, Eddie, because we signed him to the 5th-year extension, so he's guaranteed next year. But that's a pretty good one. He's a pending free agent. We expect him to do better, to grow and become a better football player this year. So that's a pretty good one as well. I actually like that one. Golladay, Dexter, another one. Leo's a good one too. Leo's another good one because obviously he makes a lot of money. With the addition at the edge with Kayvon Thibodeau, you expect him to potentially rise his level and play as well. So there's a couple of good ones. I'm still sticking with Golladay though. I think that would be my next after those two. Brandon, what's going on, man? I appreciate it, man. Chris, we met at Fan Day. I had the huge Afro and Eli jersey on. Yeah, man, I remember you, dude. I was at the practice today. After the second fight, Dable cut all of that out with a huddle at midfield. Johnson, the wide receiver, looks amazing. Brandon, I'm telling you, I have gone to 3 Giant practices, and I've made it a point, the last one I went to point out Colin Johnson and how good of a job he's been doing since I've been going to the practices. And he's looked terrific. He's made a couple of huge catches, and I'm a little bit disappointed that he's ranked as low as he is on the initial depth chart. I think he's 4th string right now. That could change, though, during the preseason. We'll see. But he's a guy I would love to hold on to, man. He's still really tall. His 3rd year in the league. I think he's a former 5th-round pick. Got some time last year with the Giants when we had a couple injuries at the wide receiver position. I think he's a guy, if he does not make our team, somebody else is going to pick him up. So we'll see. But, yes, so far from what I've seen out of him, he's looked impressive, man. NY Giants 26 says, want Crowder to stay. I like him. I think Crowder's going to stay. Right now, he's at least on the depth chart is penciled in as a starter. May not keep that. Darian Beavers has looked pretty good, but I think he'll open the year as the starter, and we'll see. We'll take it from there. But right now, he's penciled in as a starter. I definitely think he'll make the final 53. I'd be surprised if he doesn't. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't start to start the year, but I think he will. But I definitely would be surprised if he doesn't make the team. I think he's making the team. Chris, Colin Johnson has a beast card in Madden for those that play Madden. Yeah, I'm not a big Madden guy. All I could tell you, Jonathan, is I've watched the guy in practice, and he's impressed me. And apparently he impressed again today. So he's been a guy that's been standing out. For him to make this team, he's going to have a big preseason, and we'll see what he could do. Let's see. Last few weeks, Crowder was very strong. Yeah, I think Crowder's making the team. I think he's probably going to open the year as a starter. I'd be pretty surprised if he doesn't. Martinez, that's another really good one. Nobody said him. Well, maybe somebody did, but I missed it. But that's another really good one, Anthony Ojeda. Blake Martinez. Yeah, definitely a make or break year. Even if he's not staying with the Giants next year, it's a make or break year in the sense that he needs to have a good year to be able to get a pretty good contract next year, right? Coming off the injury, pending free agent. I think there's a decent chance he will not, probably a pretty good chance he will not be back with the Giants next year, depending on what we want to do with our free agent spending, right? But regardless, it is a big year for him, whether he's going to stay with the Giants or whether he's not, coming off that injury. And he's been encouraging, man. When training camp started, when training camp started, I'm sorry, before training camp started, if you would have told me 2 months before training camp that Blake Martinez wasn't going to miss any time, like I thought he'd be doing what Shepard was doing, working on the sidelines and maybe getting into the swing of things, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks before the season started, but he was a full go from the start. So really encouraging, man. And I'm rooting for Blake. He seems like a great guy, very active on social media, seems to connect well with the fans. And he was really good for us, his first year here before the injury. So I hope he bounces back, and, I hope he's a big-time contributor for us. Clouds, my man, got to meet him at training camp as well. Great kid. Sup, Chris, just got home from the Cheesecake Factory. Going to be hosting a Twitter space tonight. Quick question. Next time you host a Twitter space, let me know. Tonight I'm not going to be able to do it. But next time you host a Twitter space, send me a message on Twitter. I'll gladly drop in. I plan to do those throughout the season as well, during the season, maybe once bi-weekly. I always love doing that, getting to talk to you guys on there. Quick question. Does Golladay get dumped after this year? It depends. It depends on how he plays. I think there's a good chance he could be, for sure. I think there's a good chance he could be, but it all depends on how he plays. If he has a year like he did last year, yeah, they'll save the $6 or $7 million and they'll cut ties and they'll move on. I think there's a decent chance. I don't think he's going to be here more than 2 more years. I'll tell you that right now. I don't think he'll be in the lineup in 2024. I think they'll definitely cut him then. I'd be surprised if he's here then. Next year, I'm still leaning that it's more likely he'll be here than not, just because the savings is not nearly as high as what you'd have to eat. But if he doesn't have a pretty good year, yeah, there's a decent chance that he could be cut by the New York Giants going into 2023. Dylan is cool, man. Just joined, heard about the fight. Yeah, the fight at camp today. Yeah, man, I went over it already, but it was crazy. There were punches thrown. Bobby Johnson, the New York Giants offensive line coach, got involved. He pushed a couple of players. And we've seen that. It all started supposedly from Saquon Barkley leveling Aaron Robinson. The defensive players felt like it was kind of uncalled for, being that it was, I guess he was playing as if it was a game, but I loved hearing that, man. I want Saquon to get back to that physical type running back that we all know and love. So I loved hearing that. As far as Saquon goes, if it rubbed the defense the wrong way, oh well. I'm excited for Saquon from what I've seen, and that part I love. But as far as the fight goes, some people think it's a bad thing. Some people think it's great. I expect it. I think it's something that's going to happen throughout training camp. As long as it's not ridiculous and nobody gets hurt, things like that are going to happen. It's a physical sport. This isn't baseball. This is 300-pound men going at it. So you kind of expect that, man. It's a physical game. Stephen Lilly, I don't know if you remember, but ages ago I said I'd root for the Mets because of you. I do remember that. And last week I brought a straw. That's friggin' awesome. That is what it's funny you say that, Stephen. When I was at the Met game yesterday, of course, while you're there, you see tons of jerseys, and I friggin' love the throwback jerseys. I don't have one. I didn't grow up with that team, but the throwback jerseys are incredible. And I said to my friend, if I get one, I'm getting a strawberry. So that's awesome, man. I love the 86 jersey. It's one of my favorite jerseys in all sports. So that's awesome, man. No idea who he is, but I'll wear it proudly. Stephen Lilly, man, do your research, man. Darryl Strawberry, for anybody that's a baseball fan, could have been one of the greatest baseball players of all time. He was that good when he came up with the New York Mets. And unfortunately, like Doc Gooden, who was also on that team, who could have been one of the greatest pitchers of all time, both contributed to our second championship in 1986 heavily, got involved with drugs. And I wouldn't say it ruined their career. They later showed up with the Yankees. They won another World Series there, maybe 2 with Strawberry. I don't remember. But they never lived up to the initial hype. And it had a lot to do with drugs. As a matter of fact, Doc got so strung out on drugs, he missed the parade to the World Series in 1986. He didn't show up with the team because he was in a crack house the night that they won the World Series. So drugs kind of ruined their careers. Otherwise, both of them would have been Hall of Famers. But Darryl Strawberry is one of the greatest Mets of all time. So Storm, hey, my friend, glad to see you live. After going through a few practices, are you concerned about the offense? Also, how do you feel about the starters playing this week? Please, no injuries. Yeah, let's start with that. And so I got to meet Snowstorm last year at the Giants-Eagles game. Great guy. Got to meet him and his girlfriend. Thank you for popping in, man. Yeah, after going to a few practices, I'm not concerned. I'm not going to say I'm concerned, though. So I'm definitely not concerned. But I can understand why people are. And you know what? I take that back. I'm concerned. I'm not nervous yet, but I'm definitely concerned. And I'd be concerned if the offense looked great in the first 5 practices, obviously, or 10 practices, whatever it's been. I'm more concerned that they haven't, but I'd be concerned anyway, just based off the fact that this offense has been as bad as it's been over the last 2 years. We ranked 31st each of the last 2 years. We've scored a combined 38 points. 538 points over the last 2 years combined. The Dallas Cowboys scored 530 points just last year. So our offense has been pathetic. If people think just getting rid of Jason Garrett is going to make this offense elite, no, there's still concerns. It should be much improved, hopefully. We have a much better play caller. We added Evan Neal, Wan'Dale Robinson. Hopefully our weapons stay healthy. Hopefully Daniel Jones stays healthy. But yeah, man, I definitely have concerns for this offense. But I'd have concerns regardless of how training camp was going. But I'm excited for the offense. I think it's going to be an offense that has growing pains, but I think it's going to be a much different offense. I think it's going to be an offense that takes chances. And as a Giants fan going into this year, that's what I'm asking for. If you make mistakes, you make mistakes. But I don't want to go down looking at strike 3 like we did last year. You can't win in this NFL unless you have an incredible defense by being passive. I want this team to be more aggressive. So that's the main thing, man. That's the thing I'm really looking forward to with this offense this year. But yeah, of course I have my concerns. As far as playing the starters, man, I think they have to. And Dable came out and talked about it this week. And I think it's the right decision. I thought it was a big mistake by Joe Judge last year not to play the starters. He didn't play Daniel Jones to the 3rd week. Of course, there's only 3 preseason games now. He had 22 pass attempts in that game, but he didn't play in the 1st or 2nd week, especially with Dable, because you have a brand new scheme on both sides of the ball. So I think it's important. I think these guys need to get reps. If they get hurt, they get hurt. That's a chance you have to take. It's a physical sport. These guys have to be ready to go. So am I nervous? I mean, I'm always nervous with preseason games, right? I say it all the time. That's the thing going into those games that's the most important thing. Jones could throw 4 picks. I would don't get hurt. I don't want any injuries. That's the most important thing coming out of these preseason games. But these guys need work. All these guys need work, whether it be Jones, whether it be the second team with Taylor, the defense, the offensive line. So these guys have a lot of work to do, man. So they have to. It was obvious to me that they were going to have to do that. Danny. By the way, Dan, I've been watching your stream for almost a year now. You and Bad Dog do a great job. Keep it up. You guys make being a Giants fan easier. I'm glad. I'm glad that I make being a Giants fan easier for you. Sometimes it makes it being a Giant fan harder for me, but I love it. I love talking to you guys. Sometimes you get jerks in the chat and whatever, but for the most part, all you guys are incredibly supportive. It's a great community, and I love coming on YouTube and talking to all you guys. So thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. And I'm sure we're going to have plenty of therapy sessions this year and hopefully have more victory celebrations than we've had in the past. Miz, man, what's going on, man? He says, Tatum, my brother, man. Miz, good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Giants 26 for Taya, man, long term. I've been on the Johnson hype before the season started last year. If you remember, I put him on my hype. Yes, you did. I do remember that. You're talking about Colin Johnson. Yes, I do remember that. Maybe. I mean, Crowder's still got a lot of developing to do. We'll see. No prior ties to the prior regime, but if he plays pretty well this year, why? Yeah, of course. I think he could stick on as one of the linebackers next year, especially due to the fact that there's a good chance Martinez may not be back with the team. He's a free agent. So for sure, I could definitely see him being here for at least a couple more years, and we'll see how he does this year, and we'll see how they feel about him because, of course, they drafted 2 linebackers. But Giants 26, man. Thank you so much, buddy. Let's see. Ryan says, yo, Tana, sorry I'm late. I passed out after camp today. I got Saquon to sign my jersey. That's awesome. He's my favorite. He's my favorite Giant. So that's awesome because I dragged my younger sister to camp. It's dumb that they don't allow us older fans to meet the players. Yeah, Ryan, I think I'm going tomorrow. I don't know 100% because I do have plans later in the day. As long as it doesn't interfere with that, I'm going to go again. I have not tried to that'd be something cool to do. Take a picture with the players and maybe post it on Twitter. I've not tried to do that yet. I've kind of hung out with Bobby and Justin after and all the content creators and fans and talk for a bit, but maybe I'll try to do that tomorrow. I know you got to go down there before the practice is over, though, I think, to kind of get online to meet the players. But that's awesome, man. You got to meet Saquon. Seems like a great guy. The other thing I'll say I've noticed in a lot of the videos on Twitter, Kadarius Toney, man, seems very receptive to the fans, which is cool. It's cool to see, man. So good stuff, man. I'm glad that you enjoyed training camp, and thank you very much, Ryan. Tristan, Had a great time talking with you about Thibodeau the other night. Yeah, man, yeah, for sure. Ever since our talk, he's been unblockable. Hope he keeps it up. Hashtag rookie sack record. Yeah, Tris, I had a blast talking to you as well. And I hope, man, I hope he breaks the rookie sack record. I hope he becomes the second Giant to win Defense Player of the Year and Rookie of the Year in the same year. We'll see, but I think he's going to have a good year. I will say that. I'm not going to say how many sacks or whatever, but I think he's going to be very involved in this offense. He's going to be one of the most important players on this football team year one. So I'm really excited about him. That's why I bought his jersey. I got faith. I know a lot of people are reluctant to buy rookie jerseys. I think he's going to be a good one, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in a Giants uniform. But thanks, Tristan, man. I appreciate it, buddy. Let's make sure I'm caught up with everybody, and I'm just going to have a quick drink. Lukeness says, the way Tony has been in camp, it feels like Judge. I just want to make sure I don't have a member. I see Bad Dog's in the chat, by the way. Just want to shout him out. What's going on, Bad Dog, man? Thanks, popping. I just saw it when I scanned through the phone. He said he just crushed back workout. Good for you. Lunkness says, the way Tony has been in camp, it feels like Judge must have drained the life out of him. Well, I mean, today I know he was sluggish. I think he had 2 drops, but Tony's looked really good at times in camp. I don't know what you mean by that comment, but today I don't think he was great. I think he had 2 drops, but overall he's had a really good camp by all accounts. Heartstorm Media, my man. What's good, Tana? Can't wait to get you on. Yeah, man, for sure, man. Definitely during the season, too. I'm going to be doing a ton of Knicks content. I know you're a huge Knicks fan. Definitely get you on during that, too. Maybe a pregame, before the live stream. I might do that this year. I might do like the thing is, though, Heartstorm, I feel like all the Knicks channels do that. So I don't want to. I don't think I would take away from them, but I don't even want to. If I do, even a couple listeners, I don't want to do that. So that's why I don't do the pregame live streams too much. But definitely try to get you on. Maybe during a game one time. And yeah, man, I'll definitely come on the channel. Let's see. Over 800 rushing yards for Barkley. Yeah, yes, I've already come out and said that I think Barkley's gonna have a big year. So yes, I think he's gonna have over 800 yards rushing. Talking Giants said, yeah, dude, he went 5 for 16 today, according to Bobby on Twitter. 5 for 16 with 2 interceptions. So I know a lot of Giants fans are not going to love hearing that. And I understand it. I mean, the offense has been really bad the last 2 years. So again, it's practice. I'm not going to go crazy, but yeah, I, as a Giants fan, I just want them to have a couple of good practices so I could at least relax a little bit without everybody getting nervous. And I understand why everybody's getting nervous, but we'll see. Like I said yesterday, I think with Bad Dog on his channel, I do expect the offense to come out slow. But I hope it picks it up real fast. Xerox, man, thank you very much, man. Just bought my Kayvon jersey, not David Price. That's awesome, man. That's awesome, man. A lot of people are going to be buying Kayvon jerseys. Want to apologize for my comment earlier. I'm a fan of your channel. My bad. I don't even remember what you said, Taco. So it's water under the bridge. Maybe you super chat and you said something. I didn't see it, but I appreciate you being a supporter of the channel, Taco. I appreciate it, but I don't even remember what you said. I don't even know if I saw it. Tana, you think Tony would ever be a top 15 wide receiver? I mean, it's possible. Does he have the skill set? Sure. Do I think he could thrive in a scheme like this? Sure. So yeah, I think it's possible, but I need to see a lot more evidence before I'm, willing to make a statement like that. But does he have the upside? Yeah. I mean, he's definitely very elusive. He's got, quick shift ability. He's multifaceted in the sense that you can use him in the backfield. You can line him up in the slot. You can line him up on the outside. And obviously he's shown flashes. So we'll see. But yeah, I think he could be for sure. Christian says, Braves starting pitcher Strider saying Mets got lucky. Did he really say that? Oh, the Braves cracked me up. What was his name? Austin Riley. Austin Riley said after the Braves were a half game behind the Mets like 6 days ago, because we seemingly pick up a game every day on them now, said that the Braves are coming. Since then, they've lost 6 games in the standings. So keep talking. Hey, Chris, thoughts on the scrums? Chris K, man, I like it, man. There's nothing. I like it. I'm not going to say I love it. I don't want to see it every day. I like it. Bad Dog, my man, he says, it's been an honor to cover the New York Giants with you the past 4 seasons. This year, going to be the best year yet. Thank you for the support, chat. Bad Dog's the man. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, man, going to be live on the channel in, what's today? Monday. So 2 days. No, 3 days. I'm sorry. For the Giants preseason game. And yeah, man, Been working with Bad Dog really since I started YouTube. So I know you guys know that show. Always have fun doing it and had a lot of fun yesterday. And thanks, Bad Dog, for being here. Sean says, Tana, what's your sorry, I just hit my what's your ideal blitz package with our roster? I mean, this is such a complex, in terms of like the types of blitzes this guy's gonna run. I mean, I guess that's a good question. That's a good question. I think we're going to throw so many different looks. I think you're going to see times where we're going to have five defensive linemen on the field at once. There's going to be packages where we have extra DBs. For me, this entire defensive scheme is about deception and not being able to predict what we're going to do. In terms of one specific package, that's hard for me to say. I got to see what they do on the football field before I could answer that. But yeah, man, I that's a tough question. But I am really excited to see all the different packages and looks that we give the opposing offense. I think we're going to be really aggressive. And the other thing I'll say is I think you're going to have a lot of 3 safety looks this year. I'll throw that in there as well. A lot. I've seen that in practice. So expect to see a lot of packages with 3 safety sets. Pimp named Slickback, my man. I don't know this for a fact. I don't know why I assume this. Maybe I'm wrong, Pimp named Slickback. I think you're Jay on Twitter. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I don't know why I've always thought that. I've always put you two together. Maybe I'm wrong. But if you are Jay on Twitter, I appreciate all the support, man. You've always, sometimes we go back and forth a little bit with our opinions, but you're always really respectful to me, man. So I appreciate it. And even if you're not Jay on Twitter, you've always been really respectful for me. So I appreciate it. It says, long time no see, man. Need Giants football back. Kevin Durant. That's why I put you two together, because you're a big Nets fan. And I know Jay on Twitter is a big Nets fan. I think that's why I put you two together. Kevin Durant is literally driving me away from the NBA. So sick of that guy. Let's go. Oh, you're not on Twitter. All right, so I got you guys confused. You guys like the same sports teams. So my bad. But you've always been a great supporter of mine. So I appreciate it anyway. But long time no see, man. Need Giants football back. Kevin Durant is literally driving me away from the NBA. So sick of that guy. Let's go Giants. Let's go Giants is right, man. Dude, can't wait. As far as Kevin Durant goes, listen, he is public enemy number 1 for me. I mean, you want to talk about, and I'm sure there's some people that love Kevin Durant. And listen, I used to love Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant used to be the sweetheart of the NBA. Nobody hated the guy, right? But he's developed an attitude in terms of being, very, he had a lot of animosity on Twitter, and the fact that he's forced his way from team to team. And obviously there was a lot of backlash when he forced himself to the Golden State Warriors after they had won 70 whatever games, and then he ends up with the Brooklyn Nets, and you guys trade away your entire roster to bring on this guy. And by the way, Pimp, not only did you do that, the Nets paid him in full, not knowing if he'd ever fully recover from the injury. He sat out a year while he was on your roster. He gave the Nets a couple of years, and he said, I'm out of here. I'm done. Kyrie Irving and me, it's not enough. I need the easiest title I could possibly get. So if I was just as an NBA fan, I think he's a joke personally. But as a Nets fan, I'd be livid. But thank you, man. I appreciate it, buddy. Let's see what we got. Stephen Lilly. Oh, Bad Dog gonna make the chat blush. And Mike, man, what's going on, man? Wink needs to run base D so the O can get its work in. Yeah, it's a good point, Mike. But at the same time, he also needs to get his guys prepared. So I could see the argument on both sides, but I get where you're coming from the sense that it's a defense that constantly is sending 7, 8 guys. So it's very hard to run your full playbook and this, to let plays develop when they're blitzing on every single play. And when you go to the camp, that's what it seems like they do. But at the same time, that's what they're going to be doing in the game. So I could understand it from both sides. You want your defense to practice the way that you intend for them to play in the games. And what I will say, Mike, it should only make the offense better. I mean, if that's a challenge, they should get better over time in practice, learning to block those blitzes, learning to get the ball out quick. But I understand what you're saying. We're not always going to go up against defenses that are as aggressive as that unit is. So I definitely understand what you're saying there. And Bad Dog, man, you don't have to do that, man. Thank you very much, man. And this is just because you're the man. Let's go, G-Men. I appreciate it, man. Bad Dog, you didn't have to do that, man. Thank you very much. And looking forward to calling the game with you soon, man. Brandon says, are you leaning DJ being a bust or stepping it up? Okay, let me ask the chat, because everybody's definition of bust may be different. What's the chat's definition of a bust? Is it that he will never be a starting quarterback in the NFL ever again? Because if that's the case, I don't know if I agree with that. Do I think Daniel Jones, if you asked me today and I was on a lie detector, do I think Daniel Jones is going to be the long term? That doesn't mean 2023 and then he's out of here. Long term means he gets a 5-year extension, 6 years, 7 years. He has a full career like Eli Manning did. Do I think that will be Daniel Jones? Do I want to say yes? Yes. I'm a diehard New York Giant fan. I want him to be the greatest quarterback in franchise history. But if you ask me to be honest, I would say no. I think most signs point to the fact that he will more than likely not be the long-term answer. And I want him to prove me wrong. I want him to go out there and pull out. But the fact of the matter is they brought in Joe Shane with no ties to Daniel Jones. And if we're being completely honest, if it was a rich quarterback draft class, there's a good chance we would have drafted a quarterback this year. That's just the truth. Daniel Jones is getting an opportunity. I hope he bowls out this year. I hope he has an incredible year. And I hope he becomes the next franchise quarterback for the New York Giants. But no, I would say no. I do not think he'll be the long-term answer at quarterback. But I hope I'm wrong. Brandon, but thank you very much. Swing Culture says, we will be drafting a quarterback in 2023. Jones above 7-10 season record. I agree with the record. And if we have that record, I think there's a pretty decent to good possibility we will be looking for a quarterback. So I agree with you. But I'm still going to be rooting my ass off for Jones, and I'm going to hope Jones progresses this year and takes that huge leap and proves myself and many others wrong. But we'll see. Pip Nate Slickback, yeah, man, from what I've heard, the owners are threatening an NBA lockout of 2023. I think the players have pushed the hand too far now. I have not heard that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I have not heard that, but I haven't really been keeping up too much with the NBA. Obviously, now I'm focusing a lot more on the NFL. I'm just waiting to hear the word about Donovan Mitchell to the Knicks. But as far as the player, yeah, I get it. You know, the players have a lot of power in the NBA because it's the one sport out of the four where the individual has so much power. In football, a quarterback does, but outside of that, you don't have near the power that an individual superstar has in the NBA. So they know that, and they force themselves to situations and off of teams, and they make demands like getting to choose the head coach. Kevin Durant literally chose the head coach for the Brooklyn Nets. And now he wants out a year later. It's insane to me. But I agree with you. I don't know what they could do to rectify the situation in terms of players forcing their ways off of teams every year, every 2 years. I don't know. But I do think it's a problem in the league. Brandon says our offense needs to stay healthy. Of course, our team needs to stay healthy. Not just the offense, the defense, the special teams, the head coach, everybody. We don't have cheerleaders, but if we did, the water boy, the medical staff, everybody needs to stay healthy. We've had way too many injuries the last couple of years, man. And hopefully things start to point in the right direction. Let's see. Do you think we should play Andrew Thursday? Yes, of course. Now, I will say, Raekwon, I think the reason you're asking me that is, and I didn't hear anything from today. I don't think there was anything with Andrew today. I think there was like a minor thing with his ankle last practice, and then he came back in. So, yeah, if he could play, you play him, man. You don't want Jones getting killed. He's the blindside protector. I don't care if it's preseason or not. So, yeah, man, and he needs to get his reps. So, for sure, I think everybody needs to play. Dylan, man, he says the reality is that DJ won't be a franchise quarterback, and we will draft one next year. Dylan, again, it's circumstantial. Depends where we're picking. But, yes, if we finish with the record a lot of people think we will, yeah, we're probably drafting a quarterback. If we win 6-7 games, we're probably drafting a quarterback. If we win 9, probably not. You know, for the simple reason we won't be in a position to get one. And you're never going to force a quarterback pick. So and for people that say you could trade up, I say it all the time. There's going to be a lot of teams looking for a quarterback. Nobody took a quarterback this year. And there's a lot of teams with more, that could offer more draft capital. So it's going to depend on where we're picking. It's why I don't even want to think about it until such time the season is over. I want to enjoy the season. I want to see what we do. And if it doesn't work out and we're picking top 10, yeah, we're probably taking a quarterback. Yes. But let's see if we're not. Let's see if Jones can step up. You think we will look to add a veteran corner via free agent? People have asked me about free agent. I think yesterday somebody asked Bad Dog and myself about free agency in terms of individual players, and I haven't even looked at it. But the first position I said was cornerback, and yes, for sure, especially if we plan on drafting a quarterback and we need an immediate impact player on the outside, and we'll see how they play this year. at the quarterback position. But for sure, I could see us looking to get an immediate upgrade in terms of getting a guy that could step in right away and really make an impact. We will have at least some money next year in free agency. So yes, I think that'll be one of the positions that we could definitely target in free agency next year for sure. I could actually see a similar offseason in terms of the positional targets in free agency to 2020 when we got a linebacker and a cornerback with Martinez and Bradbury. Those were our two key additions. I could see that to try to tie up a couple of the loose ends on the defense. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. Nelson. Could Brian Dable need to make joint practice? I'm trying to get what you mean by that. Could Brian Dable need to make joint practice? Could Brian Dable need to make joint practice? I'm trying to get what you mean by that. Maybe somebody in the chat could. Maybe I'm not picking up on it. I'm not trying to. Tanya, you play fantasy football during the season? Yes, I do. I used to play in way too many leagues. Now I play in like 2 or 3. I used to play. That's what I thought he meant, little bulldozer. That's why I was asking the chat. That's what I thought he meant. Like we played the Patriots last year when we went up to Foxborough. I mean, I think they would have done it already, right? So I don't see that happening. That was something that Joe Judge did a lot. I remember when we started doing that with Joe Judge his first year. We hadn't done that in a long time, if I'm not mistaken. But to my knowledge, I believe we do not have a scheduled joint practice. So I could be wrong in that, but to my knowledge, I don't think we have a scheduled joint practice. No, I did not. Unfortunately, Fabian, I did not. Patricia Trainer told me they were really strict. Joe Santiago says the line needs to block for Saquon Barkley and Sogan Barkley needs to block the blitz for Daniel Jones. I agree on both. So far, what I will say in terms of the line, if you want to give him credit for one thing, in practice, and it's practice, the run blocking actually has been very good by all accounts. The pass blocking, not so much. Oh, do we? I did not know that. We do have a joint practice with the Jets, maybe a day or two before the game when we play them. I did not know that. So there you go. We do have a joint practice. I did not know that. I did not know that. So thank you for letting me know, guys. When you go to training camp, you should meet Joe Shane's son. Like, that's awesome, man, Matthew. Defense will be so far, Will, it looks like the strength of the team. But at the same time, Will, what I'll say is I expect at this point the defense to look better than the offense because I think the offense is going to take a lot more time to master. It's much more complex, I think, than what Wink's trying to do. So I think there's a lot more to learn. So I expected the defense to be ahead of the offense at this point in time. Would I be surprised if the defense outperforms the offense? No, I wouldn't. Bellinger said single season records by a rookie. Okay. Timothy always comes up with really hot take predictions. So Timothy thinks that Daniel Bellinger is going to be the next George Kittle. I'm going to say no, but I'm going to pray that you're right, man. Danvier says, Chris, going to my first Giants game against the Cowgirls, week 3. So that's awesome. That game is going to be electric. And originally I was thinking about going to that game, but it did make a lot more sense to go to the Sunday game, when I thought about it, from the standpoint of tailgating and getting to meet people, and people work the next day on Mondays, right? So I was originally going to go to that game, but could you imagine the atmosphere at that game if we ever beat the Titans week 1? And, and then double it up against Carolina, which I think we stand a good chance to do. Imagine going to that game 2-0. You had the Dallas Cowboys, Monday Night Football, home. That'd be fun. Let's see what we got here. I'm intrigued to see if a healthy DJ could defeat a Cowboys team. I'm intrigued to see if he could get us a winning record. What's up, Andrew Tate, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. What's up, dude? Says, hey, boss, man. New year, same expectations for the team this year. We getting W's every week, baby. Let's go. Trace, man, every year comes in here. Yeah, he says Giants are going to go 17-0, and I love him for it. Mark says, Chris, how do you think the O-line will do this year? How do I think the O-line will do this year? I have my doubts, at least early on. I think it's going to be improved because I think Evan Neal will be good. It may take him a little bit of time, but I have my doubts early on. I do see the offensive line struggling in pass protection early on. I mean, for the simple reason you have 4 new offensive linemen that to this line, so that's a lot of turnover. So I do think there'll be a bit of a growth to this line over the course of the year. I think it'll struggle early, but I do think you'll see a better line than you've seen in recent years. That's not saying much, but I think you will see a better offensive line and one that is trending in the right path. We are far from a finished product on the line. We hope that we're finished at the tackle, and I think we are. I think there's some growth that still needs to be there for both Neal and Thomas. I think they're only going to get better. But the interior part on the line, man, we need some help there. We're far from finished there. So we'll see what we do in future years, and we'll see how this line performs. It'll be better, but what I'm hoping for from the line this year, what I'm hoping for is be around league average. If they could do that, I'll be happy because that is a huge jump over what we've had the last couple of years. And you have to figure that Evan Neal is going to be a huge upgrade over what we had with Nate Solder. And we'll see how the interior report does. Zeke! Yeah, man, you told me on Twitter you were going to practice with your son, man. Says, went to practice. I think our defense is going to shock the league. I'm pumped. Yeah, you told me that on Twitter today, man, how excited you were. And I remember you telling me, I think you told me when we ended up getting Wink, how excited you were for the aggressive defense this year. So I know a lot of Giants fans are. It's going to be a much more fun defense to watch. At times, it's going to be a much more aggravating defense probably, but I'm excited. It's going to be fun to watch this defense for sure. And I know they put on a clinic today, supposedly. And Zeke, man, thank you for being a member, man. I appreciate it. He says, I think the line will be good enough for the offense to function properly. I think I agree with you. I just don't know if it'll right out of the gate. But I think I agree with you. I agree with you. I think for at least the last 10 games or so, we'll have a pretty adequate offensive line this year. But I could see it struggling a bit in the beginning. But I think it won't be abysmal. Like it's been in years past. I agree with that, I think, as the season goes on. What's going on, Joe Manning's popping in the stream, man. What's up, World's Heaviest Jam Band? So you Bad Dog stream last night as well. At least the defense is exciting. The Patrick Graham defense was like watching paint dry. Yeah, listen, I understand it, man. The bend but don't break. Listen, the game against Kansas City, I thought was great last year. In terms, there were games that stood out to me with Patrick Graham. I'm like, wow, he did such a good job in terms of game planning. But overall, at the end of the day, it is hard to finish last season being like Patrick Graham did a great job. Like you think back to last year, and the Giants, I think, gave up at least either a field goal or a touchdown in the last 2 minutes of the first half. If it wasn't every game, it was damn near close. And you can't say that the defense was worn out at that point. It's the first half. So the defense just they couldn't finish last year at all, and it showed. So it was frustrating for sure. The defense was just as frustrating at times as the offense. Obviously, once Daniel Jones got hurt, the offense took over as by far the most frustrating unit of the team. But early on, the first 5 games, first 4 games, I should say, because the Cowboys game, everybody got hurt. But the first 4 games, I was actually more encouraged with the offense than the defense, which shocked me. I thought it would be the other way around. And then the defense started to get in a groove. But overall, I agree. It was disappointing last year. I thought the defense would be better. What's up, Chapman, man? Thanks for popping in, buddy. Brig, man, what's going on, man? Are we getting into the playoffs this season? To make you happy, Brig, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to be a fan. Let me take my analyst cap off, even though I'm not an analyst. But let me take my unbiased cap off. Yes, the New York Giants are making the playoffs this year. We're going to go 17-0. No, I said it earlier during the stream. If we catch breaks, and when I say breaks, I mean don't suffer any key injuries or very few key injuries, because you're always going to have injuries in the NFL. With our schedule, we could sneak into the playoffs. We definitely could. There's surprise teams every year. Last year, the Raiders, the Eagles, Cincinnati. Nobody thought was going to a Super Bowl. So you never know. I think the schedule sets up favorable for us if the team could grow over the course of the year to win a couple more games than some people may think. I'm just not going to predict it because I don't think everything's going to go right because it rarely does. Let's see. Would you take Saquon in the second round in fantasy? Yes. I haven't looked at fantasy rankings, but yes, I think he's going to be heavily involved in the offense, and I think he's going to have a big year. So I'll say yes. We hear the Bengals not a bad team. I didn't say that. I don't know what you thought you heard. I said it was a surprise that the Bengals made the Super Bowl last year. I don't know what you thought you heard. Michael, man, thank you very much, man. What's up, Chris? It's been a minute. 7 wins, brother. That's what I got too. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's 17, but that's about what I got. Do I play fantasy? Yes. And I plan on doing I actually got a sponsor of the channel. I haven't announced it yet, but it's kind of like a fantasy app. And I plan on doing like how I do my picks against the spread. I'm also going to incorporate like, quick fantasy advice in the video as well this year, where I do like, daily fantasy content, talk about guys that I think are good waiver wire. I don't know. We're going to incorporate that. We're going to do one video a week where we do picks and as well as fantasy picks. Maybe we'll do a live show out of it, hour show or something like that. But yeah, we're going to do that this year. But yes, I do play fantasy. I'm looking forward to it. I actually have my draft in 2 weeks. It's Keeper League. Dylan, man, what's going on, man? Did you see Evan Ingram dissing the Giants on Instagram? I did not. But to be honest with you, I'm not surprised. If I was Evan Ingram, I wouldn't have much love for the Giants either. So, I listen, if there's one thing I'm going to give Evan Ingram credit for, he handled himself with class while he was a Giant. You gotta give him credit for that. I will give him credit for that. Because not everybody does. When they get the backlash from the fan base, he handled himself with class. I mean, we rode him. And I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. He was bad and he cost us a lot of games for sure, but I'll give him credit for that, man. He handled himself like a true professional as a Giant. But I'm not surprised, man, after the fact. Irish, man, thank you very much, man. Hey, Chris, I could live with a 5 to 7 win season if we split with the Cowboys and the Eagles. If we beat the Cowboys both games, I'll be ecstatic. I'll be Irish. If we go 3-3 in division and get a split with all three teams, you tell me that before the year starts, I'd be happy. I'll sign up for that right now. Pimp named Slickback. Holy cow, the Nets owner, Joe Tsai just tweeted 5 minutes ago, I am fully committed to the GM and the head coach. The Nets are a circus, man. Listen, I think the Nets made the right decision, Pimp, in terms of going after it, because in the NBA, you have to when you have the opportunity. The last time around, I thought it was a vital mistake when you traded for Garnett when he was like 33 or 34 or whatever he was, and Pierce. I thought that was a big mistake when you gave up all that draft capital when, LeBron was still with the Heat. But this time around, I think you made the right decision. It's just bad luck, man. Everything just went to hell. Stephen Lilly, what's going on, man? I appreciate it, man. What you most excited about with the Giants this year? Mine is hopefully seeing a head coach who knows how to throw flags in game management. Yeah, that's that. I was talking to somebody on Twitter today. Had a good conversation through the private messages. Big Giant fan. He actually gave me we were talking like, wow, that's actually a really good way to look at the season. Even those Giants fans don't want to hear that because he's looking at this as year one of a rebuild. He's looking at this as building something for the future. He said, I'm going into this year looking at essentially as like 17 preseason games. Not to say that he means he doesn't care if we win or lose the games. He's going to be fully invested. He wants to win the games. But about, in terms of analyzing the roster and figuring out what is going to be a part of this team when we get to where we want to be. I was like, that's a good analogy, a good way to look at it. But as far as the head coach, I was talking to him about that as well. And I said, I exactly what you said. I think that's going to be a big part and a fun part of the season, specifically for me, fourth and short situations. Because one thing that really infuriated me, if you watched my streams last year, and I think a lot of Giants fans last year with Joe Judge, is the fourth and short situations. 4th and 1 at the opponent's 40, the guy punted every time. In today's NFL, you're not winning if you don't show aggression. You're just not. The defense is not going to be able to hold up for 60 minutes. It's just not. And you have to take your chances when they're there. So that's something that I'm going to be excited about and expect Brian Dable to be a lot more aggressive. Do I expect him to be as aggressive as the coach over with the Chargers? No, that guy's crazy. He goes for it on 4th down at his own 30. But I expect him to be a lot more aggressive than Joe Judge in certain spots. His timeout usage is, of course, something that I'm sure will be scrutinized at times. A rookie head coach, I'm sure, will make some mistakes, but that's something as fans you always look at as well. How does he handle the timeouts in certain situations? Let's see. Adam, what's going on, man? Keep hearing bad things about DJ. I'm not there to judge, obviously, but it just seems like he's not performing. Think he's out after this year. Yeah, Adam, I mean, it has nothing to do with the practices, but I would have told you if you said, Chris, make a decision. Is he going to be out or not? I would have said yes before the year started. I mean, I think the Giants have clear. Here's what I'll say, and I'm rooting for DJ. I'm going to continue to say it because I know there's a lot of people who absolutely love Daniel Jones. I absolutely love Daniel Jones. To me, when the Giants, before the year started, did not extend Daniel Jones on the 5th-year option for $21 million or whatever it was, they're betting against DJ. They're saying you have to prove it. And if we think, and if the Giants really felt like he was going to prove it, they would have signed him to the $21 million. That's a fraction of what it'll cost if he has a great year. So the Giants bet against Daniel Jones. That's the way I look at it. Maybe people disagree with me on that. And I understand he's coming off the injury. So yeah, I was leaning before training camp. As far as training camp goes, I'm not going to read too much into it. I'm just not. We talk about how the team wants to take more shots. He's going to make mistakes in practice. I'm okay with it. Now, today I wasn't there. I can't speak for it. Supposedly he looked horrible, and I did see the throw in which Xavier McKinney picked him up. It was a horrible throw. You can't make that you could throw some bad picks in the game. It's going to happen over the course of a 17-game season, but it can't happen frequently, and he's got to put points on the board this year. I'm going to reserve judgment on him. I'm going to give him a fair opportunity this year. But if you're asking me what I think the ultimate outcome is going to be, I have to give you my fair answer. But I'm going to give him a fair opportunity. I'm not going to say bench him for Tyrod Taylor after week 4. I'm not doing that. I'm giving him a fair opportunity. And I think the Giants will as well. I think they're going to judge this guy this year. They're going to see if they could grow him into what they hope could be a quarterback going forward. And if the answer is no, we will be moving on at the end of the year. Zeke, man, thank you very much, man. Looking at the quarterbacks we faced this year, I think we have a ton of 50-50 games. I'm going 10 wins. Why not? I love it. I love it, Zeke. I love it. I do think we have a ton of 50-50 games. I don't think we have 10 50-50 games, but I do think we have probably 6 or 7 50-50 games. I think you could at least argue the Washington games could be 50-50 games. Some people would say no, but you could at least argue that. That's 2. And then obviously the Jaguars, the Lions, the Seahawks, the Bears, the Lions. So that's 7 right there. So yeah, I think there's a lot of games that could go either way, and hopefully we win those games, because if we're gonna make the playoffs, it's a surprise we're gonna have to, or the majority of them. True Rapless, holy smokes, he's back. Had to call my wife for this. What's going on, True Rapless? You're damn right I'm back. I've been back for a bit. It's my 3rd Giants stream, I think, in the last week or 2 weeks maybe. But I've been back for a bit. Giants content's going to ramp up as the season approaches, but I'm excited to be back talking Giants with all you guys. Always have so much fun doing the solo streams, doing the streams with Bad Dog, doing the game streams. Yeah, man. I'm definitely going to be doing Met content too. I know a lot of Giants fans may hate that. I'm a Met fan. And we got a lot of big games coming up, so I'll definitely be doing a lot of Met content as well. But obviously, Giants Central for sure. That's going to be the main focus as the season gets underway. But I'm glad to be back. Glad to be talking football with you, man. Pimp named Slickbag. He says, also heard people point out giving Lamar $50 million next year. I'm not a fan. If we move on from DJ, draft our next guy. You need a win under a rookie quarterback deal. Build it like the Bills and KC. I don't think he's leaving Baltimore. I know they haven't. I know they haven't worked out a deal yet, but I don't think he's leaving Baltimore. And I agree with you. I think Lamar Jackson's a great quarterback, great football player. I don't want to pay him $50 million. I just don't. I think he's an injury waiting to happen. I don't think. And I know he hasn't had incredible injury history throughout the course of his career, but he's the type of guy that, to be operating at full efficiency, he needs to have his legs. And quarterbacks like that, especially with the hits the guy's going to take over the course of his career, you're talking about a guy that rushes for 1,000 yards a year. I don't think he's going to last at a high level until 37, 38 years old. So I agree with you. I'm not in that camp. I don't think we're even going to have that opportunity, though. I think Baltimore in the end is going to have to sign him. He's won a lot of football games there. He's won an MVP. He's kept them competitive, and he's a damn good football player. So I don't even think we'd have that opportunity. But I agree with you. I think the best option, especially when it comes to the quarterback position in the NFL, you always want to find your quarterback in the draft. That's ideal. So you could win on the rookie salary. That's where the advantage is. Being able to pay your quarterback 20% or even less than that of what you'd have to pay him when he reaches free agency. So that way you could build the rest of the roster. So I agree with you. I'm not in favor of doing that. But thank you, man. I appreciate it, buddy. And New York for Life, he says, you disappear more than my dad. What's up, New York for Life, man? Thanks for popping in, man. What's up, Lloyd, man? Thanks for popping in. Little Boulder says, you run Effective Bad Dog are the first Giants channels I watched. I love you. Hey, man, we appreciate it, man. And thank you. The Tennessee Titans are an overall excellent team the last few years. You don't think they wanted a better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill? My question is, why is he still there? Well, they did draft a quarterback this year. They drafted Malik Willis. But my answer to you, Joe, is they haven't been picking high, right? I mean, they didn't they go. They've gone to they're the number one seed in the AFC this past year, and I think they went to the AFC title game the year before that or the year before that. So they've gone far into the playoffs. So they've had really late draft picks. So they really haven't had an opportunity to draft a high-end quarterback. In terms of a guy that's a top 3 or 4 prospect at the position in the draft outside of this year when nobody wanted to take them. But they did draft a quarterback this year in the I think it was the late 3rd round where they drafted Malik Willis. But they haven't really had the opportunity. They've kind of been in no man's land. They've been winning. So they haven't been in a spot to draft his replacement. Let's see. How many yards and touchdowns do you think KT will have? I mean, as just throwing darts at a board, but I'll go with 900 yards. I think he's gonna have a pretty good year, between 850 and 900 yards, and I'll go with 5 or 6 touchdowns. I think he's gonna have a pretty good year. I'm not gonna give you an outlandish prediction. Maybe 800 yards, 800 to 900 yards and 5 or 6 touchdowns. I think he's going to have a good year. Jones is frustrating because at his best, he's looked like good is his ceiling. Let's see what he does this year, man, and what we hope is a better situation. I mean, that's all we could do as fans this year. I mean, what other choice do you have? For people that are calling for Tyrod Taylor, what does that accomplish? Are we going to more than likely not going to the playoffs? And even if we do, we're going to do damage when we get there, for being realistic. So what is Tyrod Taylor going to do? It's not like he's going to be a guy that's, going to be a guy you build with, long term. He's been a backup quarterback in the league now for 3-4 years. He's jumped around. He's a very good backup. But I don't know what that accomplishes. So as Giants fans this year, for me, you have to sit back and you got to give the kid an opportunity and hope he progresses and becomes what the Giants thought he could be when they initially drafted him. And if he doesn't, you'll get the replacement next year. Better record, the New York Giants or Miami? I haven't looked at Miami's schedule, but I mean, I would tell you Miami's the better football team going in, especially with some of the acquisitions they made. Love your channel, Chris. I've been watching you for a year now. What is your weight loss? Oh, I just picked. I plan on getting started next week. Hey, man. So it was pretty cool. Somebody, I forgot who it was. A couple of people actually messaged me on Twitter, like, Chris, man, I was, you talking about how you're losing weight. It inspired me to start losing weight. So that's cool. It made me feel good. My weight loss currently is 37 pounds. And I set a very high goal at the start. It was 79 pounds. I looked at the scale. I'm like, way too high. And I was 248, almost 249, I think, if you round up. And now I'm 210.4 as of today. And my end goal is 170. So I'm about halfway there. Yeah, man. And I've just been exercising and eating healthy. That's all there is to it. No secret, secret ingredient. LA Lou, what's going on, man? Can't wait for the Dodgers versus the Mets. At the end of them, I'll definitely be streaming at least 1 or 2 of those games, Lou. And I know you'll stop by. You're a huge Dodgers fan, and thank you for being a member, and I appreciate it. Let's break the tie. Maybe a preview of the I think it's a good chance. I mean, the Padres may throw a wrench in that, but if not, I think those are the 2 best teams in the National League. Dolphins losing the first round pick that's a good question. They got caught. I don't know. I have to assume that if they gave him that harsh of a penalty, I think it was a first and a third round pick. It wasn't just a first round pick. That they had to have substantial evidence that they tanked games. It wasn't just hearsay. So I say yes. I mean, if there's legitimate evidence that they tank games, I don't even know if that's. You asked if that's harsh enough. I don't know. That's bad, man. You don't want teams doing that. So we'll see if that sets an example. And if it doesn't, maybe they'll upgrade the penalty. And what's going on, Allison? David Sills is not last on the depth chart. Why is Darius Slayton so high up? Yeah, maybe he's going to make the team. We'll see. Slayton has practiced well. Today he had another really good practice by all accounts, even though the offense looked horrible. We'll see. I think he's fighting, though. I think Slayton's definitely fighting for one of the back spots on the wide receiver depth chart. Tana, what's good, man? Big Dash, man. Good to see you, man. He's a content creator, too. Definitely get you on the channel as the season gets underway. Check him out, man. Thanks for popping in, buddy. Mike says, if it were my call, I go with Tyra. Dan Jones' project is way expired. He belongs. Hey, that's your opinion. I'm going with Jones for the reason that I stated. See, this to me, and maybe I'm wrong, Mad. I think that's false. He got one rep. It's not like he stepped in and played, multiple drives with the first team offense today. Daniel Jones came out for one play. And we don't, maybe it was just Dable talking about the previous play. And the other thing I'll say is I think Taylor should get first team reps. I don't think he should get a ton. Obviously, you want Jones working mainly with the first team. But I think Taylor should get first team reps. If he's going to come into the game eventually, if Jones gets hurt or whatever, you're going to be playing with the first team. So I'm not against that. Give him a drive of practice with the first team. I got nothing wrong with that. Yeah, he got one play today with the first team. It wasn't like he took over multiple drives. Jones came out for one play. What's going on, Taco Man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. I'm sure I'll go to a couple. I went to one. I think only won that game last year, but I'm sure I'll go to a couple more this year. Let me see the score. Somebody asked what the score of the Met game is. They're up 3-1. Bottom of the fourth. They're hitting the runner on first against the Reds. So things looking good against them. They better sweep the Reds. We're gonna go to about 8:55 because I have to watch the Mets game and then I want to catch Better Call Saul before I go to bed. I friggin' love that show, and there's only 2 episodes left, so I'm looking forward to tonight's episode. But but we'll go to about 8:55, 9 o'clock. Nikki, what's going on, man? Tana, I ended up with chilling with Eli and Pest for the scrimmage. Eli convinced me and said he would shoot a pilot for a YouTube channel for me and his cousin. What's the two of us? That's awesome, man. Eli and Pest are 2 good dudes. I got the pleasure of meeting Nikki at training camp as well. He's been a long-time subscriber of mine. Great guy. So encouraging on my channel. Said a lot of nice things. Nikki was there. He's like, oh my God, Chris, watching you do the live show, you just he's like, it just feels so natural. You're so professional. The compliments mean a lot, man. And Nikki, when you start the channel, man, man, you come to me, man. I'll definitely have you on. You're knowledgeable. You're a great guy. Let's see. MY Giants 26. Chris, well, I've watched it. The Boys is awesome. I've watched The Boys. I'm all caught up on The Boys. This last season was the best season. It's fantastic. Did I see Bavit in the chat? My man, are you a Giants fan? Huh. Let me see. I'm not sure, Bavit. I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I don't know. I'll let you know. Do you think we should bring back OBJ? I mean, I not this year. He's still recovering from the injury. In the future, if they do, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Second Top Gun is the movie of the year. It should, in my opinion, should be nominated for Best Picture. The movie of the year. Kevin, man, what's going on, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Yeah, San Francisco Giants, Fisher says. Bavit, I got to see you at a Met game, man. The only time I've met Bavit in person was at a Met game. Hopefully I get to, the funny thing is, Bavit, the last time I saw you at a Met game, that's the exact seats I was sitting in yesterday when I went to the DeGrom game. Section 106. And I think it was the same row. Yo, Bells, man, what's going on, man? We see veteran quarterbacks go to new teams and systems and struggle every season. That is Daniel Jones' life for the Giants the past 3 seasons. Give the guy a break. I'm giving him the year. That's what he gets. My mindset is at the end of the year, it don't matter whose fault it is. Whether it's the line, Jones, the ski, it don't matter. Money talks. You draft a quarterback if we don't start winning games this year. You have to. Didn't realize I was gonna pull up. I try to pull up chats when I can, man. Man, I've been hearing Top Gun, dude. How if you are a moviegoer? Go Mets is right, Ronnie. Glad to see you in the chat. She's always active with me on Twitter. Good to see you. If you are a moviegoer, how the hell, Gideon, or anybody in the chat, have you not seen Top Gun yet? And if you see it, you better see it in IMAX. Like and I get it. Like I'm biased. I'll be the first to say it. I'm not saying I love Tom Cruise off of movies, but in movies, he's my favorite actor. I love every movie the guy makes for the most part, outside of The Mummy, which I refuse to see because everybody said it was horrible. That is the one Tom Cruise movie I will not watch because I don't want it to ruin his perfect reputation in my mind. Everything the guy does, I love. So I'm biased. But the original Top Gun, I didn't really love. And I understand people going into this movie, they're like, well, the original Top Gun wasn't that great. I'm not excited to see this one. You better see this one. And you better see it in IMAX. Top Gun is elite. And I think it's going to be nominated for Best Picture. You better see it. Vanilla Sky's awesome. Such an underrated movie, authentic. Such an underrated movie. Really makes you think. It's the type of movie you got to watch like 3 times to like really like appreciate the movie. But it's a really good. I love Vanilla Sky. Let's see. Chris, what does DJ have to do to keep his job? Playoffs. He's got to make the playoffs. He's got to make the playoffs. His most underrated movie, The Last Samurai, is elite. One of my favorite movies is. The Last Samurai is elite. I'm going to tell you Tom Cruise's, I love talking movies every now and again when we do these streams. If you have not seen this movie, I'm going to tell you one of my top 3 or 4 Tom Cruise movies that is, and I've probably said this before in the stream, that is not like, like known as like one of his biggest movies. Like, of course, you've got Rain Man, you've got, so many of his earlier movies that were incredible. The names escape me right now. The one with Jamie Foxx, where he's in a cab and Tom Cruise is a hitman. Collateral. If you have not seen Collateral is so good. And Tom Cruise in that movie, to me, is one of the best villains, like, ever. Like, that movie is elite. I absolutely love Collateral. The Mission Impossible is the greatest action series ever made. I'll challenge anybody to that. Go watch the last 3 of them. Out of this world. Can't wait for the next 2, part 1 and 2. I'll challenge anybody to that. Name a better action series. Go watch it. Go watch the last 4 Mission Impossibles. Octave, man. Thank you very much, man. Robinson and Tony going to be deadly. I think. Love that we were close to actual football season. I can't wait, Octave, man. I'm super excited. I am super excited for the season. And yeah, man, our 2 wide receivers is that duo is going to be really fun to see how they're using this offense. I can't wait. And Kenny, he says, who are you most excited to see on Thursday? Thibodeau, probably. If you're talking about one individual player, Thibodeau. But I'll say, man, the offense is really what I'm going to be looking at. The offensive line, the scheme, Wan'Dale Robinson, the receivers. That's like what I'm most, I guess, worried about going in. But the player I'm most excited to see as an individual, it's Thibodeau. And on the defense, what I'm most worried about is the secondary. So I'll definitely have my eye out on there. But I'm excited to see Thibodeau. Let's see. Born on the 4th of July. Dude. I could name. I mean, my God. I'll pull up his filmography right now. I mean, come on. The guy's elite. NY Giants 26, man. Thank you very much, man. Chris, can I send you an edit I made on Twitter? Yeah, man. Send me the email, man. I'll definitely check it out after the stream, man. I appreciate it. And thank you, man, for always popping the streams. Thank you for always showing support. But dude, I mean, I'm just gonna go over his movies. I mean, Risky Business. How do you not love Risky Business? All the Right Moves, Top Gun, The Color of Money is, for an older movie, is incredible. Paul Newman, Tom Cruise. It's a movie about pool. It's awesome. Cocktail is like a guilty pleasure of mine. Rain Man is incredible. Born on the 4th of July, incredible. Days of Thunder is a fun movie. A Few Good Men, by the way, one of the greatest movies ever made. I'll go to bat for it all day. The court scene at the end, are you kidding me? One of the greatest scenes of all time. The Firm, incredible. The original Mission Impossible. Jerry Maguire, one of the best rom-coms of all time, and it involves sports. What's wrong with that? Mission Impossible 2, we'll forget about that. And you keep going. I mean, Authentic mentioned Vanilla Sky, Minority Report, one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time, as far as I'm concerned. Last Samurai, Collateral, War of the Worlds, pretty good. Mission Impossible 3 through 6, forget about it. Tropic Thunder, hysterical. Valkyrie, great. The guy doesn't miss. Edge of Tomorrow, amazing. Groundhog Day on steroids. He doesn't miss. Let's go. Let's see what we got here. You can't handle the truth. You're damn right you can't handle the truth. Texas Liberty, man. Thanks for popping in, man. Let's see. What's up, Chris? Good luck on your weight loss journey, my guy. Some things to help you out: running, jogging. Yeah, man. Dude. I've been doing a lot of cardio, man, for sure. Oh, dude, Minority Report. Authentic. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. That is the first time Minority Report, by the way, I ever recognized Colin Farrell. That I recall, at least, and I love Colin Farrell. He was great in the new Batman as the Penguin. He's in Minority Report. He's awesome in it. Danny, man, thank you very much. John, man, what's going on, man? Edge of Tomorrow is awesome, Nicky. It's Groundhog Day with guns. How could you not want to see that? Danny, man, thank you very much. If DJ gets tagged, what's your draft plan? If DJ gets tagged, what's my draft plan? Obviously, you're not. Well, you still, I guess, could draft a quarterback, but more than likely, you're not. You go. It's hard for me to say without knowing what we do in free agency. You know, what positions do we sign in free agency? But without knowing what we would do in free agency, I'm looking at a corner. I think that's our most immediate need. If you're not talking quarterback, potentially a wide receiver as well, because Golladay may not be here very long. Interior offensive line. It comes down to BPA meeting need. I think we have a lot of needs. So it's hard to say, but I think our biggest need, if it's not the quarterback, is going to be corner next year. That could be addressed in free agency, though, before the draft. Fisherman, what's going on, man? Do you like the Bourne series? Yeah. Mission Impossible is above Bourne for me, but the Bourne series is awesome. Yeah. Bourne. The only thing, the last Bourne was not good, but the first three were awesome. So, yeah, I like the Bourne series. Very good. Yeah, Valkyrie's awesome, man. But Veet, it's funny you mentioned this movie. I've never watched it. I think it was on Netflix, and I saw the title, and I almost clicked it just to see how bad it was. That's an actual movie. It's a movie about a killer sofa. I watched the trailer. It's about like a sofa that eats people. Dart, man, thank you very much, man. What's going on with Aziz, and what quarterback do you like in next year's draft? Aziz, he's still been on the field. Of course, he's got the hamstring injury, and hopefully it doesn't linger. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping he's out. I think he'll be out there by week 1, but and that's kind of encouraging about the defense as well. He hasn't even been out there yet, really, and the defense has looked as good as it has. He should only help everybody else. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to getting him out there. But yeah, I haven't heard anything new about Aziz. Hopefully he's in pad soon. I don't think he'll be playing on Thursday. As far as the quarterback, I mean, I could give you the obvious answers. So I won't even give you like the high-end guys. In terms of a guy that is, like Stroud. I love Stroud. I've watched several highlights and breakdown film of CJ Stroud. I have not hid that. I've said that on Twitter. I think Stroud's an awesome prospect, but more than likely we're not going to draft him because I think he's probably going to go top 1 or 2. One guy with potential upside if we are looking for a quarterback, and I have to see him because he has not delivered at the collegiate level yet because he hasn't gotten much of an opportunity, is Anthony Richardson. And I'm not saying I want him because I need to see him this year as a starter with Florida, but he's got the upside. I mean, 6'4", 240, big arm, mobile. Let's see how he does this year, but he's got those the physical attributes. Let's put it that way. But let's see how he does this year in college, and let's see if we're looking for a quarterback. Zahai man, he says driving the pups to the car meet and bumping Chris. Let's get it, my man. Zahai man, thanks for popping in the stream, man. I appreciate it, man. We are Mets fans. That's right, Ronnie. Appreciate it, and thank you to everybody for being here. The Reacher movies are good. I haven't watched the Reacher show yet. A lot of people have told me the Reacher show is good on Amazon. I haven't watched it yet. But the Reacher movies were pretty good. I didn't think they were great. They were pretty good. Can I get a UG Rection? Can I get a shout out, Chris? Just my name. You got it. UG Rection. Thank you for popping in the stream, you. Oh, God. You guys are nuts. Let's see how the Mets are doing. I see a couple people. So 3-1 still bottom of the 5th. Let's sweep the Reds, man. Let's keep it going. Shawshank Redemption, one of the greatest movies of all time. Stand up. What's up, Chris? And let's go Giants. My man, CeeLo Ren. What's going on, man? I saw the promos for that, Joshua. I haven't watched it. I've seen the promos for it. There's a lot of good shows. I mean, if you have Apple TV, I'm sure you've seen Ted Lasso. That show's awesome. I think it's called The Newsroom with Steve Carell. That was good too. No, was it The Newsroom? The Good Morning News or something? I don't know. It was good. And Michael, man, what's going on, buddy? I appreciate it. Great content, man. I appreciate you for being here, buddy. Juicebox says, do you think fans will be rocking paper Target bags on their heads at the games this season? I hope not. No, I don't, Juice. I really don't. Even if the Giants are really bad this year, I don't, because it's just a different feel, right? It's not like we've had to endure I mean, I'm not saying we haven't had horrible years before this, but it felt like for a lot of fans, rightfully so, last year, that we were stuck in the mud with the same regime, having Dave Gettleman for 4 straight years. I don't see that this year. I don't. I think there's going to be fans that boo if the team sucks. But I don't think, no, not near the same level. I think the majority of fans, I think, are very happy there's a change. And I think they're going to allow this to play out over a couple of years before they start to get to that level again. So, no, I don't expect that. Bill, my man, don't ever apologize. Sorry I missed this. Just joined. Any Giants news? Yeah, there's a couple of tidbits. I talked about it. I mean, you probably heard about it already, but if you didn't, there was a fight at training camp today, big fight, which kind of started due to the fact that Saquon Barkley was ultra physical with Aaron Robinson. It kind of sparked a fight with the team. There were fists thrown. The offensive line coach for the Giants got involved. So that was like a big storyline. The offense continues to struggle in practice for like the 3rd, 4th straight practice. Jones was really bad today, at least statistically. I wasn't there. 5 for 16, 2 interceptions. The offensive line, by all accounts, was horrific. So, but on the other side, obviously the defense was getting great write-ups. But, I think most Giant fans are most concerned with the offense. Kayvon Thibodeau had 2 sacks or would have had 2 sacks. So, yeah, that as far as the training camp goes, that's the news. The unofficial depth chart came out. And I'm not going to go over it all again, but I did show it earlier in the stream. There was a couple of surprises to me. For the most part, it was pretty straightforward. What I found interesting on the first unofficial depth chart is that, matter of fact, I'll pull it up for you real quick. Because a lot of people probably weren't in here when I showed it earlier. We'll go over that again real quick. If I still have it. Yeah, there it is. I'll pull it up for you real quick. This is the first unofficial depth chart. So what I found interesting on it, and maybe this is me just reading too much into it, CJ Board is listed as the starting punt and kick returner. So that is at least a hint to me that he stands a pretty good chance to make this team. I assume that would be Richie James, and right now, at least according to this, he's the guy. So you would think if he's going to be the starting punt and kick returner, that would give him a good chance to make the team, which would indicate to me that there's probably a fight between Richie James and Darius Slayton to make this team if CJ Board is going to make it due to special teams. On the second, in terms of the secondary, all the starters are status quo. Where Darius Williams was listed as the primary backup for the exterior spot in both spots. Cordell Flott, the nickel backup. Dane Belton, as of now, the primary backup behind Julian Love, of course, still has the injury. He did get out of the cast today, so at least showing signs of recovering, I think, from what was a broken collarbone. Yusuf Corker was the 3rd string there. The starting linebackers, Tate Crowder, as of now, still has the spot ahead of the rookie Darian Beavers, who has looked good in camp. Micah McFadden is actually behind Carter Coughlin, which tells you that there's a good chance, obviously, Carter Coughlin's going to make this team. And then it was interesting, I thought, where Dexter Lawrence was listed. He was listed as the starting nose tackle ahead of Justin Ellis and DJ Davidson. Of course, Lawrence has spent a lot of time playing on the DN spot, and I'm sure he will still in certain packages this year, but they have him at least listed, according to this depth chart, as the nose tackle. But don't read too much into it, because Azeez Ojulari is listed as a D end on this chart for some reason, and we all know that Azeez Ojulari is going to be playing outside linebacker. But I found that interesting. The tight end, I don't know if I touched on this the first time around. Ricky Seals-Jones is listed as of now, and I do think Andre Miller sustained an injury today that a lot of people were really high on, including Bobby Skinner, who's been giving him rave reviews. He had an injury today. I don't know how long he's going to be out. He's 3rd on the depth chart, but Ricky Seals-Jones is 5th on the first unofficial depth chart at tight end. 5th. And you haven't seen Ricky Seals-Jones getting a lot of reps when you've been going to the practices. They had Bellinger 1, Chris Myrack, interestingly enough, who caught the touchdown against the Eagles between his legs, is 2. They had Andre Miller, Jordan Akins, and then Ricky Seals-Jones, along with Austin Allen. Wide receiver, they did have Darius Slayton as the primary backup behind Tony. David Sills behind him. You had Saquon Barkley, Matt Breida, Gary Brightwell was the third string running back, actually ahead of Antonio Williams, which was a little bit surprising to me. I thought Williams might have the edge over Brightwell, but at least as of now, they have Brightwell listed as the third running back, and then Corbin is the 5. They have a Zudu, which is a major problem, listed as the primary backup left tackle right now. We obviously know Matt Gano retired due to injuries, so that's something that I'm sure the Giants are going to have to be looking at to try to improve that as the offseason progresses. Will Holden, we just picked up, is listed 5th. He does have some experience. I think he has 9 career starts, former 5th-round pick like 6 years ago, but I think they'll look to hopefully get a little bit of an upgrade there in terms of the swing tackle as the offseason develops. Azudu listed as the primary left guard. Yeah, Bredesen is the primary backup right guard. All the starters are what we expect. Neil Gawinski, Feliciano Lemieux, and Thomas. And then your 2 starting receivers, Galladay and Robinson, with Richie James and Slayton listed as the 2 primary backups. So just a couple of interesting tidbits that I found with the unofficial roster that came out today. But like I said, I'm probably reading too much into certain situations, but it's just fun to speculate and see where these guys are listed. And I think we'll get a better indicator as the preseason gets underway, how these guys play in these games as to who stands the better chance at cracking this roster. But just a couple of, I guess, interesting tidbits from the first unofficial depth chart. Michael, man, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it, dude. Thank you for being a great supporter on the channel, man. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And then I'll pull up your next thing that was right underneath it. I want to make sure that maybe you meant to super chat this. You didn't give a comment. He says, I think we should pursue Jimmy Garoppolo. How do you feel about that? What's your take on it? Yeah, obviously, like, that's been getting a lot of buzz, because that's been like that kind of, I can't remember where that started. Like, I feel like somebody on like ESPN started that rumor. I don't even remember. I think I can't remember who it was, but one of the analysts on ESPN brought up the possibility of the Giants going after Garoppolo. One, we're not going to trade for Garoppolo. We can't. The guy makes $25 million this year on the cap. So the only way it would even be a moderate possibility is we'd have to pick him up after the 49ers dropped him. And the 49ers may drop him, but even if they do, I don't think the Giants are going to do that. I don't think they're going to pick up Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he's going to end. I'm sorry, I got the hiccups. I think he's going to end up with either Seattle or Cleveland. Now, what I will say about Jimmy Garoppolo, and by no means do I want this to happen next year, but I think it's more likely. I'm not predicting this. I don't think it's going to happen. But if you ask me what's more likely, Jimmy Garoppolo is a New York Giant this year or next year, I would say next year. Because, again, I don't really foresee this scenario, but I could at least see it as a slim possibility where if the Giants don't feel like they're in a spot to draft the quarterback they really like, and they don't want to push forward with Daniel Jones, they could look for a stopgap option. And Garoppolo is going to be a pending free agent. So if it was ever going to happen, I think next year is when it would happen. It wouldn't happen this year. That's my take on it. Bill, man, thank you very much. He says, thanks for the recap. Sorry. No, dude, Bill. You didn't have to donate again, man. I'm sure a lot of people weren't in here for it, so it's good that I went over it again. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the guys playing in the first preseason game on Thursday, 3 days from now, man. Let's see. It was me. I brought it up to you and Patricia Traina on her live. Oh, okay, Chris. Okay, cool, man. Keep that guy away far. I don't expect him to be in a New York Giants uniform anytime soon. But I listen. He's a winning he's a winning quarterback. He's won games, but we don't have a situation like San Francisco did. We just don't. So I wouldn't expect him to come in here and light the league. Not that he lit the league on fire with San Francisco, but he was a winning quarterback. He went to a Super Bowl, went to an NFC title game. But we don't have that team. I mean, look at Jared Goff, right? That's a perfect example. And it's why I say wins should not be a quarterback stat. They just shouldn't. They should not be a quarterback stat. I understand that quarterbacks influence wins more than any other position, but they shouldn't be a quarterback stat. Jared Goff was a MVP candidate with the Rams. Can't win now with the Lions. So I think you're a product of your environment, and I think that would be what happened to Garoppolo if he came here. Michael, man, thank you very much, man. Can't blame the O. It was the 101 degrees outside. You think that's why? I hope you're right, Michael. I hope you're right. Listen, I'm not reading too much into it. I'm not reading too much into the practices. I'm not going to flip out. I'm not reading too much into the practice. Roldy, good to see you, man. I hope you're doing well, buddy. Roldy's the man. Always a great supporter. So many Giants channels. Thank you for popping in. What's poppin', Tana? You stay with your head up. Hi, keep doing your thing, Chris, and congrats. I appreciate it, man. I'm down, like I said, I'm down 37 or 38 pounds, whatever it is. And you guys are going to hold me to it, man. You guys are going to hold me to it. I'm going to tell you my goals right now. I got to be 200 by the start, the Giants' first game, which I think is the 12th or the 11th. So I got to be 200. And then I got to be 170 by the end of the year. That's the goals. You guys are going to hold me to it. Yo, what up? Pump for Thursday, man. I can't wait, Cressy, man. Thanks for popping in. What do you think about Evan Neal's early struggles? Again, it's like I expect that. He's a rookie. I don't expect the rookies to just come in and be flawless and be great. And I'm not surprised by it. I'm still really excited for Evan Neal. He may have some growing pains as the season gets underway, but I'm not going to read too much into that. May struggle much like Andrew Thomas did in his rookie year for a lot of the season, but I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be a big part of the future of this football team. Jones was 5 for 15. Was it 5 drops, Mike? Really? I heard it from different people. From Bobby, I read it was 2 drops with 2 interceptions, but maybe somewhere else they said 5 drops. You don't like hearing that. What's up, Giants future man? Thanks for popping in, man. What's up, Carter Daniels, man? Thanks for popping in, man. I mean, eventually, Fisher. Yeah, that's the plan, man. We got to get a Mrs. Tane on the channel eventually. So yeah. Conrad says, "Hey Chris, great to see and hear from you. Bad Dog Talking Giants. Looking forward to your yeah, man. I can't wait, man. I can't wait till we have a lot more to talk about. Can I put? Well, we'll save that for a Mets stream, Mike. I'll probably do a Mets stream in a couple of days, not tomorrow because I'm going to be busy at night. But maybe I'll do the 3rd game of the Red Series. But we'll save that, man. We'll save it." Do you think Wink's unique defense is the main reason for the offensive problems? I think it's a combination of probably that and the fact that it's a brand new scheme for not just for Jones but for everybody. So you figure there's going to be a bit of a slow start. But yeah, the fact that Wink's defense is as aggressive as it is when you're trying to learn a brand new offense is going to complicate things even further. So I think it's a combination of both. Why the offense has looked as sluggish as it has. So I'll say it's both. I don't know if it's one more than the other, but I'll say it's a combination of both. Where do you think Kareem Hunt is going to go? From what I heard, Kareem Hunt is all I know about the Kareem Hunt situation is he wants out of Cleveland. And Cleveland said they're not going to trade him. That's all I know. If he were to get traded, what makes the most sense? I think Buffalo makes a lot of sense because they could use a playmaker at that position. They're a team that's looking to compete for a championship. I'll say Buffalo makes the most sense. I don't know if he'd end up there, but I know they drafted a running back, though, so maybe it doesn't make the most sense. I'd have to think. But I could see that making sense. Maybe Kansas City. Go back to Kansas City. I'm sure there's a bunch of contending teams that could use him, though. What's up, Tane? It looks like you've been getting some. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Would love it if you could all get a tailgate with you, Bad Dog, Justin, and Bobby Pitts. Yeah, well, if Bad Dog goes to the game, I don't know if he's gonna. He doesn't know yet. I am gonna meet Justin at that game. I already know that he has a tailgate, and I'm sure I'll talk to him and we'll collaborate and talk about it ahead of time. But I'm gonna meet up with Justin at that game. So he has a tailgate every game. Yeah, I think he has season tickets. So I'll be going there with him, and if Bad Dog goes, we'll all be doing it together. Hey, and what jersey are we thinking? Wandell, Tony, or Kayvon? Out of those 3. I would go with K. I mean, what do you think? I went with Kayvon, so that's what I would go with, man. When do you think Tyrod Taylor will be quarterback 1? I don't think he's going to be quarterback 1 early in the year. I think they're going to give Jones a fair opportunity. I don't. Obviously, if injuries happen, I can't predict that, right? Jones, I'm not even going to bring it up. But if it does happen, then he gets put in. But in terms of being quarterback 1 above Jones with a healthy Daniel Jones, I don't think it's going to happen, at least over the first half of the season. I think Jones is going to get a real opportunity in this offense, and they're going to see what they got. So I don't expect it. I expect Daniel Jones. When Tyrod Taylor gets thrown in, that tells you they have concluded that Daniel Jones will not be the guy they have any interest with pushing forward after this year. And for them to come to that conclusion, I think they're going to give it probably at least 10 or 11 games for it to even, start to become a possibility. So that's just my prediction. Bill says, I'm fine if Wink's D's dominates and it takes D.O. another season to gel, even if it means DJ doesn't make it. Still like DJ, though. Yeah, listen. I like DJ, too. And Bill, I hope everything clicks, and I hope he's incredible, and I hope the Giants have a great year. But for me, it's about progress this year. And maybe the defense does come out of the gate and look really good from the start of the season. So far, by all accounts, they've looked really good in camp. Let's see them do it against other teams, but maybe they do look really good. The offense, I think, will take some time, but I do think it'll get better. I do think it'll get better over the course of the year, and I do think it'll be a much better offense than last year. The question is how much better, but I do think it'll be a much better offense. Do you think the Giants would trade Darius Slayton? It depends. Yeah, I definitely think they'd be open for. I don't know about that specific player with the Jets, Berrios, but I think they'd be open to trading him for sure. I think they'd definitely be open for trading him if there's any market for him. If they bench Jones, they will feel he's holding back the offense, and they can't be. Yes, but I don't think they could. I don't think they will come to that conclusion after 5 or 6 games. That's just my belief. I don't think they're pulling the plug that quick. I think they're going to give him some time. But yes, if they do pull him, and it's not injury related, yeah, they're saying to themselves, well, he's not the guy, and we need our other players on this team to get better, the wide receivers, and we got to get Taylor in there to see if these guys could progress as football players. Chris, people say Daniel Jones is injury prone. Well, somewhat true. Check Taylor's injury past. Make Jones look durable like Eli. Well, yeah, you're talking about. I'm assuming you're talking about Lawrence Taylor. It's a different position, but yeah, I mean, listen, I do think Daniel Jones. You can't get hurt every year at the quarterback spot. You don't have to be Eli, but you can't be missing games every year. That can't happen. Look at all the best quarterbacks, right? They all, for the most part, they usually play a full season. So it has been a problem. Can't continue to happen, and hopefully it doesn't. And hopefully with a better offense, what we hope is a better offensive line, and hopefully a more mature quarterback after the injury he suffered last year, which could have been career threatening. He's smarter with the football in terms of knowing when to get down, knowing when not to take hits. He's got to get better in that area of his game. Yeah, I know they're winning 3-1. And good to see you, Jameson. I was at least somewhat intrigued when I heard about Eric Ebron, and the Giants brought him in for a tryout, but it doesn't seem like they're interested in bringing him in at this point. Do you think the Giants would draft a running back this year's draft if Saquon? Yes. I don't know if they definitely will, but yes, I definitely think they could be open to the possibility for sure of drafting a running back. Anthony says, Chris, what unit do you think comes along quicker? The offense or defense? I think defense will come along quicker. That's the looks of it so far in camp. I still think there's areas, the secondary, where I really worry, but I think the defense will come along quicker. I think the offense is going to take some time. But the offense may end up being better this year. I don't know at the end of the year, but I think it's going to take some more time than the defense. Hi Tana, who gets the first sack of the season? I'm going to throw out a random name. I'll go Xavier McKinney on a safety blitz. Let's go Mets, Card Coach. Good to see you, man. Next time you go to MetLife, you should visit the American Dream Mall. All right, Matthew. Isn't the American Dream Mall the mall in Minnesota? Or maybe I made that up. There's like a huge mall in Minnesota. I thought maybe not. Maybe that's a different name. Tane, out of curiosity, do you feel like fights in training camp is good or bad for team morale? It's as long as it's in moderation, I think it's fine. As long as nobody gets hurt, you expect that. I mean, they're competitors. It's a physical sport. You don't want it happening every practice. You don't want it to be a reoccurring event, but you expect it. You want your guys to be feisty, right? It's football. So, it's in New Jersey. Okay. Oh, the Mall of America. Okay. Who do you think surprises on this team this year on the offense? I mean, I've come out and said several times. I think it's going to be Barkley. I don't know if you would consider it a surprise, but I think Barkley's going to have a huge year. Huge year. That's my guy this year. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think he's going to have a big year. Chris, everyone is hyping Tibbs. People better watch out for Georgia. Dog Aziz. Hey, he's got to get him back healthy, but I do think he could have a great year. Tana, you were going Nothing but up. I was trying to read that properly. Screw the haters. To be honest with you, I haven't had many. I mean, maybe there was a couple at the beginning of the stream, and I'm glad, man. I'm not gonna pay any attention to that, man. I'm on here to talk Giants football, like I said at the top of the stream. I'm on here to talk Giants football and have fun doing it. Grow a community. Um, work with as many good content creators as I can, and try to help the Giants community on YouTube grow. That's it, man. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to talk sports and have fun. So, anything else, you're not gonna see. I'm not gonna bring drama. I'm not gonna. No, I'm an adult. I appreciate all the support, man. Let's see. I was at camp today and Jones was very big. I know that's been the report by everybody, Jordan, and hopefully he looks much better tomorrow. I plan on being at camp tomorrow. I can't 100% say I'm going to be there because I may not be able to go. We'll see, but I hope I'm there and I'm looking forward to it. We're going to be better, and that's the goal. And Dark Man, thank you very much, man. Do you think we retain Galladay after this season? I'm gonna go yes for now, slightly, but I could definitely be swayed the other way. Galladay's got to have a good year, I think, to stay on. He can't have a duplicate year of last year. He's got to have a good year. But if he has a good year, I think we'll keep him because it only saves $6 million. And if we are drafting a quarterback, which maybe we will, maybe we won't, he's going to help his progression if he's doing a good job in the offense. So I will definitely slightly lean yes towards now, but it's far from a sure thing. I hope so. I've seen a lot of people have been pushing for Leonard Marshall to get in the Ring of Honor. I hope so, man. He deserves it. I mean, I didn't get to watch him, but he's a great Giant. He deserves it. Yeah, Roldy. Well, real quick. I mean, I don't know if you heard about it. I know you're relatively active on Twitter, but maybe you didn't get a chance to go there yet. There was a huge fight today at camp. Huge fight. We'll do it again real quick, and then we're going to close out the stream because I got to end it around, maybe I'll go like 9, 10-ish. But we'll go over the fight real quick. I can't pull it up. I don't know what I did with the article. But basically, Roldy, there was a brawl today at camp. Saquon Barkley leveled Aaron Robinson. And then the very next play, things got really heated. There were punches thrown. Bobby Johnson, the offensive line coach for the New York Giants, got involved. He pushed a couple of players like it was a melee. I think a lot of Giants fans got excited because that's always, in training camp, people get excited about that. But nobody got hurt. Most important thing. So that was one of the big things of the day. And the offense struggled today. There's no sugarcoating it. I wasn't there, but you see the highlights on Twitter, and some of the throws Daniel Jones made were not good. And the offensive line, according to everybody, was horrible today. I think Jones was 5 for 16, 2 interceptions, somewhere in there. With I think there were 2 drops by Kadarius Toney. And that was the bulk of it. The defense strongly outperformed the offense. And there was a big fight, huge brawl. I'm trying to think if there was any other major news. I don't think there were any injuries reported today. Of course, McKeithen is a recent injury. He's going to miss the year. That happened at FanFest with a torn ACL, which is bad news. Giants are going to have to pick up another lineman. But I think that was the gist of it. Bill, man, thank you very much, man. Any word on what's holding the O back? DJ has plenty of weapons. It is time, or DJ can't handle wing scheme. Yeah, listen, Bill, what's holding the O back, we're going to find out. We're going to find out when the real games get underway of if the O is being held back, what's holding the O back. But I think it's the new scheme. In terms of like why, if you're asking me why the offense is so behind the defense, I think it's more complex than learning Wink's defense. The offense, I think that is part of it. And I do think the part that the fact that Wink's defense is as aggressive as it is makes it hard to really try to run all your plays that may take 4 or 5 seconds to develop. So that may have something to do with it as well. But yes, as of now, the defense seems like it's way above the offense. And the other thing I'll say, Bill, though, I think it's the line too. I think the line has a lot to do with it. The line's struggling. The last couple, especially the FanFest I went to, and today supposedly they struggled a lot too. And we got to remember, man, they have 4 new linemen on that line. 4 new linemen with a rookie right tackle. So you can't expect it to just gel right away and be great. So I think that has a lot to do with it. I think the line's been struggling. The run blocking's been good. They've been opening up lanes for Barkley, but in terms of pass protection, it's been really bad. When I went to FanFest, the line was getting obliterated. And I think they had like 3 holding penalties. The first team offensive line. Maybe it was like 1 or 2 holding penalties. They had 3 penalties. It might have been a false start, but they had a couple of holding penalties for sure. So the line's been I think has had a lot to do with it as well. Yeah, Wan'Dale's look really good. And I'm excited to see how he's utilized in this offense. I said it yesterday. I don't think you're going to get like a full taste of Wan'Dale Robinson early on in terms of all the ways that I think we plan to use him. They're not going to show you the whole playbook quite yet, but regardless, he's going to be an exciting player to see tomorrow. Hopefully catches a couple balls because he could do some damage after the catch. Yeah, the O-line has to judge. Exactly, Ronnie. Good call. Super says, wait, Chris, you have to blame DJ for everything. Don't you want to be a cool kid? Listen, I try to be as fair as I can, Super. I don't want DJ to be blameless. I think he needs to take blame too. He is not look great. I will say the second practice I went to, he looked good. And supposedly, according to everybody that's been to all the practice, that was the best he's looked. And he looked very good in that practice overall. But he needs to take some blame too. He's definitely missed some throws when he's had some time. He has not looked great so far in training camp, but I think there's other factors than just Daniel Jones as to why the offense has looked as sluggish as it has. Yeah, amazing guy. We're gonna close this out in like 2 or 3 minutes. But I just want to go live, talk with you guys. I'm not able to go live tomorrow, so that's why I did it tonight. I was gonna go live tomorrow because the plan is to go to training camp tomorrow, and so I was gonna go live tomorrow. I probably will go live another day this week though, because I want to start getting in the groove of having like another YouTuber on, and I plan on doing that. Probably every week, having like a new guy on. That I love, that I like. And I want to have Authentic on. He's the first guy I asked. So I don't know what Authentic schedule is, but, maybe after the first preseason game on like a Friday, I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll have Authentic on. We'll do a stream like this midday or whenever his schedule allows him to do it. But when I have him on, when I have a couple of other guys on and just talk about the upcoming season, have a good conversation, talk to the chat, and just start to get back into the live streams and have fun talking New York Giants football. Let's see what we got. Darth says, any scenarios where we have another terrible year and DJ stays for 2023? I don't see one. No, I don't see one. Because here's what I'll say, Darth. When you say terrible season, I'm thinking 5 wins, right? 6 wins. Terrible season means a top, 8 pick, 10 pick? If we have a top 8 pick this year, and you're Joe Shane, and Daniel throws 30 touchdowns, but we won 5 games, are you going to pay Daniel Jones an extension? Like, you have the opportunity to draft a quarterback and reset the rookie clock. And with the schedule we play, if Daniel Jones can't win more than 5 games this year with the schedule that we play, regardless of what his statistics are, why in the world would you extend him? You're never going to get a softer schedule than this. So my answer to you is no. I don't. If we have a bad year, I don't foresee that. He's got to have at least 8 wins this year. At least 8 wins this year. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But guys, I am going to close it out. I just want to say, and yeah, I'll be streaming Thursday for the preseason game. That's going to be on this channel at Bad Dog. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you guys for all the support that you guys always show. You guys are the best supporters on YouTube. Say it all the time. Best supporters on Twitter, wherever you follow me. And yeah, looking forward to it, man. Probably I might do a Mets stream on Wednesday. I haven't decided yet. I'll definitely be live for the Giants game on Thursday, and yeah, maybe do one of these again on Friday after the preseason game because there'll be a lot more to talk about. But guys, be good. Appreciate all you guys. Enjoy the rest of your night, and hopefully, if you watch Better Call Saul, definitely check that out, and hopefully the Mets close out the game. Be good, guys.